Hey, what's good, First Smoke family? We're back again with another episode. This time we got my guys from Stache. A couple of great guys, man. Great company, great brand. They got a lot of great products on the market. Make sure you guys check them out, stacheproducts.com. We get into their story and much, much more. Really dope episode. Make sure you guys watch until the end. My man gets real vulnerable, breaks down, has a moment. And, you know, it's always special when somebody does that, opens up and allows us to see their truths and see what's real with them, and you know why they're doing what they're doing, why they're connected to this passion and following their purpose through creating products or whatever it is they got going on. We're always lucky to see that, connect with that, and watch that. We appreciate you guys watching first and foremost. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you run the comments up, and make sure you're subscribed if you already haven't. That really helps out the channel. Also, turn on the post notifications so you know when we got a new drop, upload new videos. We got a lot of new content hitting the net all the time now. Make sure you have it so YouTube can let you know when we drop, so that you're one of the first to be able to watch it. Shout out to Stache. Also, if you're not on the website, fsotd.com, we got tiers for you to choose from. If you want to support the show, if you want to get involved with the community, if you want to join the family, go on there and sign up. You guys keep the lights going on in this show. You keep this show going. We keep the content coming to you, and we keep doing this as you know, as a pleasure. It's a passion of ours, and we're able to serve our purpose to it. But without your support, we're not able to do that anymore. So make sure you get on the website and make sure you sign up. Also, support our good friends over at Dr. Dabber, drdabber.com. Go to the sponsors tab at fsotd.com. You'll see the latest code for them. Go pick up an Excess, an Evo, a Light, a Switch, whatever you want from their lineup. It's all really, really cool stuff. We're really good friends with them, and we appreciate them supporting the show.
What was one of the coolest things about Stache? They did a test with their grinder side by side with other grinders, and then after the fact test results, terpenes, THC. We get into all that. If you're a cultivator nationwide, in store or online, Grow Generation. Super simple. fsotd.com. Go to our sponsors tab and get hooked up. Same thing with nutrients. If you want to try something different, Drip Hydro. Go to fsotd.com, hit the link, and get hooked up.
Hey, what's good, everybody? We're back with another episode of First Smoke of the Day. It's your boy Pack in the building here with my co-host, as always, Biggs, the Black Leaf.
Over here stashing, dude.
Come on, man. We got the boys in the building. My guys from Stache. What's good? How you guys doing?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Good to have you guys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having us. It's good to be in California, too. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
The weather's amazing.
Yeah.
Fall time is like, you know, dialed for LA.
It's perfect right now.
You come to LA in fall and you're going to be happy.
Yeah, there's no humidity out here, too.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's noon and it's like 73 degrees and breezy with the sun out.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Fucking perfect.
We're from the East Coast. So it's like that around noon, you're like soaked.
Yes.
Soaked.
Yeah. You're on your third shower.
Yeah.
We're originally from the East Coast. We know all about that
so
shit.
Not that tight.
You got to park in the garage because if you leave your car outside, you're sweating for the first 5 minutes being
driving.
in the car. Yeah. It's
leave with a sweater, come back in shorts somehow.
Swamp ass.
There you go.
I think it might have been originated there, man.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
definitely was.
It definitely was.
We've been using your grinder on the show for a while now. We got them in the cabinet. We pull them out all the time. They're always on the table.
Yeah, you guys hooked us up in Vegas. That was what, earlier this year? It's crazy
February,
to think that.
Yeah.
It seems like it wasn't that long ago, but it's almost a year.
Yeah, 2023 has been
fucking 8 months or something, 9 months.
February, right?
Yeah, February,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
That's when I
Glass
quit
Expo?
nicotine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
No more nicotine.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Good for you, bro.
He went straight cold turkey.
No
I don't know
blunts,
how he did
nothing.
No,
That's the way to
and
do
and I'm a blunt guy too. So, but I've been doing wraps, you know. But no, I smoked cigarettes for over 20 years, and then I vaped for 8,
He had a vape shop.
and then I had a vape shop, but that was a vapor company. And then one day my son, he went grazed it, and I was like, I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm never touching this shit again. And then I didn't.
Well, your son almost smoked it?
No, he's
He's a
like,
baby.
it was like he's a baby, he's just picking up everything. So like it was just on the couch, and it was like the remote controller was there. He was gonna reach for one of those 3 things, and like in my mind, I was like, nah, I don't want him see me do this growing up. Because I saw my parents smoking cigarettes, I was like, nah, the whole point of me vaping was to quit the cancer of cigarettes or nicotine, in my personal opinion now. But I'll go back to blunts. I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet.
Still need some time.
So
Yeah.
he almost picked up the pack of cigarettes.
No, my vape. It was like an
Oh, the
e-cig.
vape.
Yeah.
So you quit the vape now too?
Yeah, everything. No
Good for you,
nicotine,
bro.
No nicotine. Yeah.
That's awesome. It feels like in life to make that kind of shift, it's got to be deep rooted.
Oh yeah.
And it's got to tie to your purpose, and then you got to like change your identity.
Yeah, I'm sober too. So that was like from when I was younger. I mean, I just don't do like hard drugs, I guess you could say, and stuff like that. So
Cali sober.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to say.
okay, so but
Yep.
that's cigarettes were like my last, or nicotine was like the last thing that I did when I guess I used drugs or stuff like that. So that was my thing. That was just like I don't have that anymore. Like people are like, oh, you smoke cigarettes like a cokehead. Well, it's like, well, matter of fact, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, man, you vape like a cokehead. Well, matter of fact, now people don't say you smoke weed like a pothead. I sure do.
Yeah.
I don't have that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not like, I don't have those conversations like, oh, I'm sober now. I'm recovering. I don't have none of that anymore because that the nicotine was that last thing that I would bring that up, Oh, I did this and I started doing this because, this, and I quit that. And
I'll credit cannabis with that. Is if it can help you get off something way more destructive,
yeah,
it's a win.
Yeah.
And I've seen it do that for so many people, especially like with introduction of dabs. People getting off heroin and shit and just
All
being able
day.
to dab
Hard
all day, and
drugs.
it's like, damn, at least you're gonna live now.
yeah. And
You know, 'cause
shrooms too.
fucking heroin, bro, it's a one-way road. Like
Yeah.
once you hit that dead end, it's done.
Well, the
Yeah.
amount of damage you're doing to your system, even every time you do that, compared
Yeah.
to smoking joints or dabs, it's night and day. Like I've
Yeah.
seen people, you can see them and how they look and how it changes from doing
Yeah.
hard drugs to just smoking a lot of weed or a lot of dabs or a lot
Yeah.
of edibles or a mix of everything. It really, it's a saving grace with cannabis that I think it does save a good amount of the smokers from doing something else.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's something I noticed too. I don't know, maybe if you guys can relate. So in high school, I had a lot of friends that smoked cigarettes, right? And then other friends that didn't. We just like smoked weed, right? So all my friends that did smoke cigarettes, though, ended up either like drinking, doing hard drugs, and blah, blah, blah. And then one day, maybe never quitting cigarettes. My friends that never smoked cigarettes would like indulge in drinking every now. They're like, yeah, smoke a bowl of weed, like I did a line one time, and then I went to bed that night, and ate a burger the next morning. Like I really saw this path of like, man, I think nicotine, like people always say the weed is the gateway drug.
That's
By no way. Nicotine is the gateway drug to all this. People tell you smoke cigarettes, you're going to die. And this, and then you smoke your cigarette, and like, I'm not dead. I've been smoking cigarettes for 20 years and I'm still not dead. Like what is this drug that they're saying is going to kill me going to do? So I truly think nicotine truly is the devil, man. It's
I
a
know
gateway
this.
drug.
People typically try nicotine before they're going to try marijuana.
Absolutely.
I know I did.
It's more
Yeah,
accessible.
so Black and Mild and all that
100%.
bullshit.
Marble Light.
And then you try weed.
Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
people like, and nobody will dare all that. They never said that like, oh, nicotine is the gateway drug, right? The biggest taxpayer in the United States is the gateway drug. Nah. That's what like people should really pay attention. I had a vape shop. I took a huge pride in getting people off cigarettes, like huge pride. I didn't graduate high school and I was doing this. I felt like this medical act almost,
Yeah.
How did you guys create Stache though?
But that's a vapor company. It was my vape shop. I opened in 2013 and we had G pens in there. I had G pen, like the slim old school G pens. And I've always been a tinkerer my entire life and started putting, tinkering and putting things together. We made, I made a wax pen and had people use it. And somebody was like, yeah, why don't you like make your own wax pen? And I was like, I don't know how to do that stuff, bro. I was like, we barely got the shop open. I was like, I'm here 7 days a week. I don't got that kind of, we just thought that was dreams for rich people. That was nothing I could ever do. And then contacted somebody in China and then found out what the mold fee was going to be. And then I was like, all right, I can afford that. And then how long do I have to need until I need to pay for the first 500 units? And I was like, I could save that in those like 9 months. And then I was like, all right. And figured it out, for the first 500, sold as
Step
much
by
as I
step.
could. Yeah. Literally sold like everything I had.
What created that belief that you could actually do it?
Nothing, man. I think
Just taking the step to
being
find out. what it
yeah,
would
just
take?
being tired of not making something. I think being tired of that opening my vape shop was my first not working for somebody else. I was always like working for other people, managing restaurants or waiting tables or bartending. I dropped out of high school, so I didn't have no college education. I'm an immigrant, so I was just like, this is good. This is I make good money, I pay my bills. I got my weed, got my dogs. We're happy. I'm good. I'm living the dream. So I thought that was it. I was happy with that. But then when we opened the shop, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I think it was step by step, man. Just being like, okay, I can afford that mold fee. Okay, I can do this. I can do that. And then after I did it one time, having an addictive personality. That was it. I was like, damn, I need to make more things. 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 So, and then, we're like 15 products in now.
Addicts are the best hustlers.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They make tons of money.
Yeah.
Guys that get sober and then replace that with business. Yeah. Because it's the same dopamine.
Same mentality.
But one's fulfilling and one's not. One will leave you empty, one will leave you full.
100%.
And when you switch that hustle and your mentality into something productive that's going to actually be a positive, it's game over. I see so many guys either come out of prison or come out of, addiction maybe, that get sober. Maybe they were, addicts before prison, get sober in prison. Then they come out and they fucking kill it in business. Whatever they decide, sell cars, real estate, construction business, whatever it is. And they just go hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking 5 years. They lapped up guys that I know that have been fucking around for 20, bullshitting, that are still out here like not believing in themselves and not thinking they can do anything.
Because I think the pain is your prior pain is who made you. Your prior pain is who made you. I mean, my mom's pain is who made her. I used to always ask my mom, was like, my real dad was not the tightest dude. We had a real rough life coming from Brazil. And it's like, man, would you change? She's absolutely not. And it took me a long time to learn that. And then today, from all the tears, from it says right here, today's pain is tomorrow's gain, is I wouldn't change that. Not a wound, and it sucks, man. Like the ones that hurt so bad, you're like, oh man, this sucks, bro. But I learned from some of that, and that scab is, one of my most precious scabs today. Is how I look at it. It's like, that shit sucked. But, I picked myself up and I learned from it, and we're better people, better men at least.
And it's necessary. Because you think without it, you're like, I probably wouldn't have kept, I wouldn't have known what to do next.
Nope.
I wouldn't have built up the fortitude to keep going or to be able to continue being resilient.
Yeah.
It's like simple analogy is like learning how to ride a bike for the first time.
Yeah.
Keep falling. But if you keep getting back up, next thing you know, you're fucking cruising. Training wheels are coming off. You're ripping down the road. Now you're riding hills. Like, it's just, that's life in a nutshell. That's definitely business.
Yeah. I think that's business. Yeah. That's the word right there, is business. Because it's, I mean, there's business school, right? But that's why
I say, like, you say you didn't go to college or anything, but I would say that it's good you didn't, because you would have just gained a lot more debt. Most people I know, they go to college, they graduate, and they're like, I still don't know what I want to do. It's like, well, what the fuck do you go to college for then?
Yeah.
Unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something else like that, architect, whatever, you don't need fucking schooling.
Yeah.
You need to start the business or go work for someone that owns a business that you want to start.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. There's no other answer. It's like experience trumps all. It always will. And you're never going to learn by looking at a book. You can read all you want, but until those problems come up in your life, you're not going to be able to relate to it. You're not going to be able to understand it. And, people can explain, well, this is how it's going to work. Until you're there going through it yourself, you're not actually absorbing and obtaining the information in a way that's an applied method now to where you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
That's why most jobs want hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not like, some will ask you like, what's your schooling? But most are like, we need 6 months experience or a year, 3 years experience in your field, because that's as important, if not way more important than the 4 to 6 years you spent before that learning about it.
Damn, bro, you got a dab everywhere we go.
It's discreet, it's portable, nobody knows.
DrDabber.com. Use the code, get your access now. You take all these tests and quizzes and all the homework and all this shit, right? And all they care about is, did you get your degree? They don't even look at your GPA.
Yeah.
You could have barely fucking passed and still not know shit. And they're like, well, you got this degree. And then what does that apply to in the workforce? 10%?
Yeah.
20% maybe?
Most of it is connections.
Experience is what they're still
Who
looking
you know.
for.
Yeah.
What you gain in college, in my opinion,
Relationships.
Because I
go
went-
for the experience.
Yeah,
That's it.
you go well in my relationship with the people that I met there, because
Yeah.
you're at a specific point in your life where you are building the blocks of like who you are and where you're
And
going.
there's a barrier of entry.
Yeah. And so those people are of a higher sort
Yeah.
than you
Yeah.
met in high school or middle school, right? So the whole
Core
thing
friends.
was like, but again, like everyone's journey is different. Like, what did I learn in college? I learned
Nothing.
growing weed. I learned business, selling weed and growing weed. But like, yeah, those are the three things I learned more than anything.
Yeah.
Was like, and when I say business, it was hands-on experience with some book overview of like, oh, that makes sense because when I do this, but yeah, no, it's
Learn how to chase women.
There's things you can
not
definitely
too much chasing, but women for sure. Yeah.
They were chasing him.
College is, yeah, I mean, when you're in a fraternity house, it's wild.
There are things you
Yeah.
can definitely learn in college that I think are applicable to almost any industry. Like, I went to school to be a teacher.
Mhm.
By no means am I using what I learned in school to be a teacher now, but there are things I learned how to, like, software wise, operational wise, that help me in my job today. That's how I got my job at Stache. This man needed someone to run his support. He had no idea how to like organize it, set it up. I set up a Google Doc where people would just fill out their information. It's still the same system we use today. It's all organized, it's all color coded, and it worked.
Yeah, work smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I don't knew. I think I did some weird, it wasn't a spreadsheet. It was just like no, it wasn't even Excel. It was just like some
Blocks.
blocks, and I put numbers in there, and I called him in my office. I was like, look what I did, dude. And he was like, what is that? And I was like, it's
like,
graph, bro.
Put all the numbers in there yourself.
I graphed it up, bro. I was like, there's numbers.
It's a big step though, for real.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that. If you come to my desk, I have 3D printers everywhere. I have, I'm making things at all. I have my iPad. I'm drawing things out. I'm catting it out. I got prototypes of a million things on my desk. I got my iPad, my computer, I got distros calling me. I'm making sales, and I'm like watching a podcast. But that's how I work too. I have to be doing 90 million things, or I'm going to be doing one really shitty thing. That's just how you get 10 really good things out of me, or you're going to get like one really shitty thing out of me. Like, I can't do one thing.
It's smart. Well, it's because like everyone also has a different lane in business, right? It's like, that's what having a business or a team is like everyone has different accreditations, right? Like attributes. You bring different things to the table than I do, and vice versa, right? And that's why you guys are a great balance for each other. How long were you in business before Adam came on board?
He's been here for 3, 4.
I came on in
2020, right before the Rio, right before this, and I've been, because for a long time I felt like I could do everything, and I started paying myself in 2019, but before that I had regular jobs. I had my shop that I worked at 7 days a week. I worked as a waiter in the day, ran my shop at night, or vice versa, and then I did the Stache stuff out of the office in there. So, and then I sold blinds on the weekends. So it was kind of like, when can I fit it in? And then I really figured out, I was like, I'm putting all this effort into this shop. I'm putting all this effort into selling blinds. I'm putting a little effort in the Stache. And people are like liking my product, but I'm not going to trade shows. I'm not doing this. I didn't know anything. I thought you made a product and people just came and got it, dude. It was like, I made it. Why aren't people buying it? Like I set up a website and I literally sat there and I looked at the screen. I was like, here it comes, bro. I sent one to High Times. Like, the dude Josh said he liked it. Like, this is it, bro. We're good. Like, they're definitely going to post it. Like, he said it was revolutionary. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I was like, hey, Josh, why didn't you post it, man? He was like, well, you have to pay us like $20K and then we'll tell people we like it. And I was like, oh, I can't afford that. I'm like struggling to pay rent though. Like, and then it was like, all right, I learned that, right? That was a learning lesson. So then it was like, how do I get my name out there? I got to go to these trade shows. So save up to go to a Champs. And first one was Atlantic City in Jersey. Me, my best friends went there. set everything up. It was 3 dudes in one room, one bed, and didn't make a dime. Lost like for the first 3 years of shows, we didn't make anything. I mean, if I got counterfeited, my pen, I had a little silicone storage on the bottom of the wax pen. I got a patent on that. And then a bunch of unnamed brands came and copied me. China copied me. And it was hard to say, hey, I made this thing that's on to the next 3 tables to my right and 3 tables to my left. And it's like, yeah, I have this piece of paper that says I have a patent. I made it this time, but I'm the one, nobody knows who I am. I'm not paying high times $20,000 to tell people that I'm cool or P. Diddy or Puff Daddy or something like that. I don't have that. So it was like, how do I have to keep going to these shows, nothing. And then I went to a show and I was using my dab, my rig and torch. And when one of my customers had my wax pen, and he was like, where's your wax pen? And I was like, I only use it when like I don't have my rig and torch. I'm a rig and torch dude, bro. And I was like, or a bong. And he was so disappointed. And I was like, dude, why am I making things that I don't use every day? And I was like, yo, fuck this shit, dude. Why am I using things that I don't use religiously? Why am I making a product that I say all this, but I'm not using it I'm not using this over my rig and torch. I need to make something that's better than my rig and torch, more convenient. Not that I want to pop-ups, these Pelican cases, these heady pieces, these timers and these hourglasses, and these dudes are like, all right, dude, I'll tell you when to go. All right, and go. All right, don't take the dab yet, no. It's like it's this whole huge thing. And then I was like, what can I do to simplify this? You get the same exact thing, like most electric rigs at the time. And most of them in their description saying is the closest thing you'll get to a real dab. Okay. This is a real dab. There's not closest thing to a real dab. That's not like the closest thing you'll get to weed. This is weed. The closest thing to get to real good weed. Nah, this is really good weed. It's not the closest thing to. I didn't want to sell the wax pen anymore because it was the closest thing to, being convenient for me when I was inconvenienced. I wanted to sell something that was convenient for people when they're inconvenienced, that gave them exactly the convenience they needed to medicate or to just have a good time. Mm-hmm. So we made the Rio, and it was like, it's super simple to explain. We had the torch, it's built-in torch, the water pipe. You can use it as a water pipe. The quartz comes off. The carb cap comes off. I wanted to make something that my first Rio that I made in 2019, you can get the parts from that one and put it on my brand new one that we released a couple of days ago. So because for that person that can't always afford the newest one, modular systems are always going to be the one that they can upgrade something with without having to buy an entire new thing, or just a banger breaks, or just this goes out because torches as usual. You could always replace everything and always keep things the way that people wanted, and nobody has to sacrifice the function. The price is just $149.89. We wanted people to be able to do exactly what they were doing without any sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And that's what I got. I was like, hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? We did that. We did this. We did this. We tried so hard to make the full piece in America too. About 18 months, I tried to, I got a CNC machine to mill out the bases myself. Learn how to use CNC, learn how to CAD, learn how to taught myself how to 3D draw. And this is before I knew how to do all that. So I was like, I'm going to figure it out, make this in America, blah, blah. And I was like, I want to keep it low price point. I don't want it to be like $8,000 thing. I want every American to have it that needs to be medicated, so we made it at a price point then we thought was, good, was $250. Now it's $150. Because we've put 5 years of expertise in knowing how to change our logistics and knowing how to, order correctly so that we can save time and labor and keep our costs down. And we don't have exclusive distributions anymore because they control the pricing and they control everything that we do. We distribute our products. We make phone calls every day. We call our distributors every day. Me and him, that's what we do. We put that time and effort into putting that. We see that product, that result. And not only in this product, but then the product as the brand, as us, comes out a lot better. Like you guys standing behind your brand is not just some person, some drawing standing there. It's you guys are there every day. That's why you guys do this stuff on the side too. because this represents ultimately your passions, your loves, and your brand.
I love that you say too, it's not trying to get as close as you can to it. It's an actual dab.
Yeah.
I love that because it's like, that's been one of the big things about electronic devices. It's like most heady guys are like, yeah, but I still want a real dab.
Yeah.
Like they say a real dab. And
But
it's
some
like,
of them are getting there. Like the Dr. Dabber
Yes.
homies, they make
a great device.
fire products. So shout out to Dr. Dabber and all of them. Like the Switch, that's probably one of the first induction heated units. I have a couple patents on induction heating, so I know everything about that product. I know it very well. It's an induction heated unit. It's one of the first in the industry to ever come out like that. And then their new Carrots collab. I mean, that's putting those collabs that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
When you're putting clothing, when you're putting artistry into something that's that. Now people that are into that are now looking at the Dr. Dabber, you know? That's why I reached out to Dr. Dabber, and we always try to figure out, every show we go to, we hang out with the Dr. Dabber guys. We hang out with the G-Pen guys. We hang out with the people that want to be cool. We want to be nice with everybody, you know? But if you want to be secluded in your own little group, and you guys are the cool kids in the group, then fine, you guys be the cool kids. We'll be the dorks to hang out together then, you know?
I like what you were saying on off the mic before we started recording here. The stuff that we only put on the website is that you started talking about collaboration over competition. And then Pac had a great point too that you brought up about, what was it? No, but Pac had you had a great point. I don't remember.
Yo, do that trick. Do that.
Do a backflip
Tell that funny
real quick.
story.
But it's so true though.
No. Competition. It kills
opposition.
Yeah, it kills everything off.
Yeah.
It kills off all the progress of just the market as a whole, and it's not good for the consumer.
Yeah.
Whereas, you brought up like Biggie and Tupac and like rap beef and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but it ended.
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
And
for the people that were actually listening and enjoying and a fan of it, all we have now is a memory, right? And it's like, damn, who would think like Tupac died at like 26 or some shit? Like who would know how many more albums and great things that guy would have went on to do?
What would music be today?
And it's like, yeah, it comes from unhealthy form of competition, and competition isn't necessarily bad. That's supposed to raise the bar.
Yeah.
But you got to collab as well. You have to come together and put the consumer first, to make sure that it's good for the market, not bad for the market.
We owe them that, I think. Without the consumer, we don't
There's
exist.
nothing.
We don't exist.
There's nothing
So
happening.
I think brands that don't know that and don't see that clearly, and they sit on this pedestal that they, like, the consumers owe them something.
That's where they lose it.
It's like,
It's
man,
usually,
I don't
and
know.
I was saying earlier too, it's usually personal vendettas. It's never actually like, oh, I just hate that company.
Yeah.
It's personal most of the time, and you just got to learn to communicate as adults. You don't got to agree. You got to learn to agree to disagree, and that it's all good. But it still doesn't mean that you should never coexist and create something really dope together and put a group of two different walks of life together to come up with something that one or the other would have never came up with on their own, which I think is a win for us as a whole that want to see creations and want to continue supporting different products and brands. And I personally like how you guys have simplified the dab, because I'm by no means a heady guy.
Sure.
I'm not going to sit there and have a Pelican, have the torch, get butane, just have every single little gadget that it takes, because it's a lot. Right. Yeah. And I'm not a tinkerer. Like, I don't like that shit.
But I don't do that.
I like convenience, and it's like when you put that together, I remember us grabbing it the first time when you sent us one, and I was just like, oh, dude, this is everything you need all right here, self-explanatory, and it's a real dab.
Yep.
So it's you've developed a lane of your own, in my opinion.
And that's what we wanted to do.
What's important to do as a company, as someone that's, developing products or pushing your brand. You have to do that to exist in a market that this many people are in. So I like it, man. I like what you guys do, even with your grinders and shit. It's quality.
Yeah.
It's something different.
Yeah.
Or the grinder's mad unique. I mean,
Well, the grinders too. There's a lot of people out there that paved the way for us to be here as brands, and I appreciate all the earlier grinder companies. But something that I think weed's changed dramatically in 10 years, and that's I feel the grinder industry has not change dramatically in 10 years.
Agree.
So
There's a few companies trying new things.
I like this
but
in the flour mill because it's something different.
Sure.
And when I say something different, meaning you've used innovation to make the existing item better,
yeah,
which is what markets need to continue. You know, all the linear markets right now are all going to be disrupted within the next 10, 20 years with AI and everything.
yeah,
Like if you're a linear product or device, or like a good example, I was listening to a podcast earlier, is like Blockbuster had a chance twice to buy Netflix and they didn't. And where the fuck's Blockbuster?
Mhm.
They're not, nothing like that will ever exist again. And they could have been in the race still.
yeah.
But
Own the race.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's the same thing for all these other products and things that we have in the consumer market today.
Sure.
It's all being disrupted. It's all going to, with AI and everything coming out, it's all going to be much different than what we've known it as.
Absolutely.
If you're not happy with your current nutrient company, or you're not happy with how your products or flour is coming out, try Drip Hydro.
All you got to do is go to fsotd.com, get the discount code, and driphydro.com or Grow Generation stores nationwide, online or in store, we get you hooked up. You got to try Drip Hydro.
Everybody's switching to drip, and whether you want to come in store or you need it dropped straight to your facility, Grow Generation can help you out there. Tell them the First Smoke family sent you and get on Drip Hydro now.
You can even ask AI in like at one point and be like, you know, what hasn't changed in the cannabis industry? And they're going to be like, the grinder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just,
that rolling paper in your mouth right now.
right?
Yeah.
Tons of carbon in it.
Yes, dude. It just shows you, and I look at it as a positive, especially for someone like you and a company that invents on these products and develops, is that there's a lot of open space in our industry and surrounding our industry. There's a lot of things that
There's a lot of room for improvement.
yes, there's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot of small business that can happen still. People are like, big cannabis, all the products surrounding the cannabis industry where you're also not considered in the cannabis industry. You're not taxed like the cannabis industry. There's all these positives, and it's like, yeah, who better to capitalize on these investments or on these products than people from our industry? Like, I'd way rather have a homegrown entrepreneurial business creating products for this industry than when Marlboro jumps in, or when Anheuser-Busch jumps in and they're like, you know what we should do? We should create a heady glass piece that's $50.
Yeah.
And 100% replaceable if you come in and just wipe everyone.
And I was actually telling you guys earlier that is happening in our like accessories industry right now. I think because of the economy and certain, a lot of brands are struggling. Stache works on its own money. I don't have debt. I don't borrow money. I don't have banks. And I think if you don't do that and then the hard times come and you don't have money saved and your investors are like, we still want our money back every month, dude. I don't care. Hard times. What are you talking about? I got a tea time at 4:00 time. That's my only time I know. And that's tea time. And so like, I don't have those conversations. So a lot of people are, laying off people left and right. We always try to figure out and cut corners and not come out with new products. That's not what we want. We want to be known as the most innovative brand in the market. Every single thing we've done from beginning to this, even the grinder, Adam actually went through and got the test done. We got all the grinders on the market. So we'll never say the other brands' names, but we put all grinders on the market, and we said, what happens to your weed when you put it in a grinder? Do you lose terpenes? Do you lose THC? Do your trichomes get destroyed? And the answers were yes, yes, and yes. And the words that the testing facility uses, that your trichomes get annihilated. And imagine the word shredder. Okay, a shredder shreds, it destroys. A mill. I have a CNC mill, and I will never put anything in front of my mill. My mill demolishes anything. Okay. We want to gently separate things from the stem. This flower, this beautiful flower now. I don't want to piranharize it. I don't want to pulverize it. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to, most of my friends would be like, I don't even use your grinder, dog. I use my hands, and then I'll get a razor. I've seen people get razors and scrape keef off their fingers. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that gangster before, but breaking up enough weed, you'll get that layer on there. And people will love to keep that. So our grinders even come with a brush. We want you to brush that pollen, that keef on that. You spent tons of time growing fire weed. fireweed. You put it in there and then it becomes swag. Why even do all that? Why go through all that? Put all that time and effort that all these amazing growers and people put the weed into our hands. And then we put it through a grinder, and then out of nowhere, now you're losing 7-8% THC, 25% terpenes, and you're annihilating your other trichomes in there. So you're not being able to get tests or the other types of flavors, or cannabinoids are just not even there anymore for you to take any kind of use out of them. So we did those tests, and we know that our grinder, when we say, hey, our grinder is the best grinder on the market, it's not something, it's not a marketing ploy. We can put the test behind to prove that. And we want other people to do it too. We have heavy metal tests will be next. Plastic tests will be next too. Because we found out that those hemp grinders, they're not hemp. They're just plastic, recycled plastic with some plant materials in them. So you're smoking plastic at some point, that's that friction. The number one sold product, the number one consumed product is flower, is a pre-roll, in cannabis and in dispensary medical rec. That's a fact. Flower is king. So people are rolling that. They put that amber on the end of your joint. It's thousands of degrees. If you're using zinc alloy, horrible chemical, horrible fumes come off of it. So if you're using zinc alloy grinders, plastic grinders, and that little bit's going into your weed, you're easily smoking it. The type of magnets that you're using, do they, every time they go and touch each other, do they scrape off? Magnets inside of our bodies, they cause fires. That's one of the worst things that you can do is put a magnet inside of your own body. You don't want that. We don't want these things to happen. So when we came out with the real people, can you inhale butane? No, the flame in itself is proof that there's no butane being inhaled, no fume being inhaled in any way, shape, or form. The flame is proof of that. We've done the test with saying, hey, is there any kind of chemical that could get here? No, my mouth would have to be over this with no flame and me just like that. Like it goes through water, it goes through a carb cap, it goes through that. But the flame being on is proof that nothing is there. We do those tests. Our scale tool. So when someone takes a dab, they say, a person that's never taken a dab, they say, how much do I dab for the first time? You would say, a little bit, or do like a booger size, or like a size of rice. Yeah. So,
that's what Florida does. In the state of Florida, they recommend that you do a grain of rice.
And that's medical. Okay. So if I was at my doctor's and he was like, and I was like, I just cut my finger, and I did a couple weeks ago. And I was like, how much pain Advil should I take? Like a grain size amount of Advil? I'd be like, I'm leaving his office. I'm not paying you because you are not a doctor. Like, you're not a medical person. You're telling me to take a little bit of something, or it's everything. Even like, how much salt should I put in this pasta? This much, teaspoon, everything is weighed out. But in cannabis, it's like a little bit of dab, a little bit. The thing that's most potent, we're just going to tell the guy, just eye it out, bro. Just a little bit, though.
It's what ruins most people's experiences.
And they never go back to it. Zero. That's the number one point. Everybody that we've come and talked to is like, oh, no, I'm good. Oh, no. And you had a really bad experience with it. Oh, my God, dude. I thought I was going to die. He's like, well, how much did you use? A little bit. How much was a little bit? It was like this much, like this much, like this much, like a little bit. I'm like a gram? That looks like a gram. Did you gram it out? So this with the tool, you can say, hey, try a 0.08. Hey, try a 0.05, microdose it, and then work your way up. Hey, you have a gram. So if you take a 0.1 every day, you can have that for about 10 days now. You can.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So this measures your dab.
Yeah, you waste anything, powders, oils, and we have a scoop for flour too.
So you can measure a bump too.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
So in my days,
that's on some other shit these days.
On my days, I was like, never overdose again, guys.
That is cool though, because what you can start to do as well is you get to control what you're taking in,
and then you pull the tip off. So then we have flower tools, we have mushroom ones coming out, and then we have ones that you can put, like, it'll be an ounce scoop, flower scoop. So you have this really cool scoop in here. So remember, we were talking about different ways to make it, we won't say our secrets that we were talking about earlier, but that wouldn't be a hard task at all to have here. Boom, directly into your bag every time. Boom, directly into your bag every time. Boom. You tear it off. there's an attachment here on the bottom that this tool goes onto. So every single time the guy goes, boom, in your bag. This is your secondary lifeline. And at the end of the day, it could save you 3 ounces. And you're like, man, you just saved 3 ounces with the secondary aspect of weighing it. Instead of using a hand, you're just using a scale hand, you know? So it's just that thought process of being like, man, why do we just tell people a little bit? You know, why don't we say, how much is in that joint? Oh, I put like 1/8 in there, like a gram of wax. Okay, cool. That sounds reasonable. How much is in there? A lot and a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting too, that I love that your products are built out of necessity.
Yeah.
It's a problem in the market or an opening where you're like, why do people do it this way? Well, let's fix that.
Sure.
That's very cool. And this also for people who are saying to themselves, once I open a jar of hash, I just smoke it all.
Yeah.
And here's a way not to. Here's a way to kind of break it into sections where you're like, well, every time I dab, it's 0.2. I get about 10 dabs out of a jar. Now you're also not just continually consuming.
Yep.
You also, it's like saying, if you were to drink coffee and you just put it in a massive mug, you don't know how much coffee or how much anything you're taking in. If it's per cup and you're like, holy shit, I'm end up drinking 10 cups a day.
Yeah.
You know, you need to cut back or you know where you are. I love that, man. It's a very cool product.
It's very underutilized too. We think, you know, because of the education aspect of us, because it's kind of like just dab, just go. We don't have to, like, people are looking at, most people would just be like, oh, well, who cares about that? And I'm like, well, me and you don't. Like, I dab and I really don't care. But for them, like my mom had a full-blown panic attack because she said just a little bit and she never touched it again. And I would say the reason why flower is king is because I guarantee there's been at least 40% of the population that's smoking flower, okay, that has tried wax, had a bad experience with it, and will never go back to it. And that's like, I would say, if there's some test that you can do or some poll, 40% of the population that smokes cannabis, that's tried dabs, has had a bad experience with it and will refuse to go back to it. And that's a huge number, huge. And if you could fix that with just a tool, or just, you know, make it easy for people, put it on a dab tool that is, you know, dissolves or something, you know, something that you can just put it in there. So each dab tool is a 0.2, you know, have a way that people can dose correctly, something that people know what they're doing. You know, these carts just aren't like, it's not like a magical hose. It comes out of nowhere and I'm just sucking all here all day. How many carts you do? I don't know, dude. A lot, a little bit. Who knows? I'm just sucking.
No, it's a 1 gram cart or half a gram cart.
Exactly.
And it lasts me a day or two, or it lasts me. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like this too, man, because the first thing I think of is all the festivals and concerts we used to go to. This would be so key, where you get an actual dab at the event in a mobile unit, right? Where it's not like I'm having to, it's my charger.
Break out your Pelican.
Yeah, exactly.
Break out your Pelican.
Well, and I also go into this is like certain pieces. When if I drop it or if someone else is using it and they break it,
oh man, I'm
heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. Or I'm like, that was irreplaceable. And you're definitely not like, hey man, do me a favor, Venmo me $3,500 real quick. You know, it's like people will be like, what? So with something like this is easily pass aroundable. It's easily used at a festival. It's affordable.
Yes.
And if I break a piece of it,
even if you're traveling, you can leave it back.
Yeah. I'm replacing the piece too.
Bless somebody with it. And just take your flight. And be like, it's all good. Because you can't fly with butane.
You can't, but you can empty. I fly with mine every single time.
Yeah. So
I just empty mine out. But I always tell people, do not fly with even like hairspray. It's just compressed air. It's not smart. Just don't do that. You know, like I just empty mine out before I leave. We have a flight tonight and I'm just going to, right before I get on a plane, like we'll go to a restaurant or something and I'll just I'll unscrew my top and just let it leak out. But I know, like, for every fill, I've just been using the rear for so long, but if I get a full fill my torch, 72 dabs out of that. There's nothing electronic that can compete with that. Nothing. I can go weeks off one fill up. One. Nothing competes at that when it comes to electronic, okay? But so I know, like, when I landed here, I was like, I'm just going to do a quick, like, 15-second jump, because then it's like, I know that's going to be like 2 days, like one full day of dabbing, one night, and then I only have a little bit of draining the next day. But like if I were to fill it up, it'd be like hours of leaking that gas out. 60 sessions. Yeah, and that's kind of dangerous.
And you know what's even the best torches, the most expensive ones, after I have 3 different torches, I won't name the brand, but I have to click it 15, 20 times.
We're working on that.
Yeah. But with this, at least if it goes out, I can replace it immediately.
Yeah.
With these, it's
affordably.
It's an $80 to $120 torch. Yeah. And all three of them I have the exact same issue. Yeah. And it's just like, now you're going to go, it's almost the cost of the whole rig.
Yeah.
It just, I love how you guys compartmentalized it as well, because you care about your end user.
Yeah.
Where you're like, if this piece breaks, you can easily just replace that piece. Or this fits our
bag
old version.
too. Where you got the bag out?
Yeah, let me grab
It comes with a sick ass bag. I have mine that this is like a prototype bag we're working on. So you guys can kind of see it first.
Oh, nice.
Just something small, shoulder bag, easy shoulder bag. But that's the protective case that it comes with now. And this is a super limited one. I used to be, before I had a son, big shoe guy. But now this is like beyond limited. We'll never make this color again. This color is the one in a lifetime ever. So, and that comes with every single kit. Every single kit comes with a full EVA padded. That's gun foam. That's not like, cheap foam.
It's all the details that you care about. Like you say, like, hey, that's gun foam.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you really care about product development.
Sure.
Like the amount of effort that you put into every single piece. Like we were talking about plastics and you were like, you need to make sure it's not this kind or this kind, because when they burn or when they break, they off gas. And most companies wouldn't even care or ask about that. Like you guys actually care about that.
It's important, man.
Too.
Man, I'm sick of spending so much time going to the store, having to make all these runs and load all this shit up. Yo, what are you doing here?
It's hash making day. I'm always at Grow Generation. If you don't want to have to always go into the store, it's super easy. They deliver 60 plus stores nationwide, delivery right to your doorstep and discreet.
GrowGeneration.com. Use the code, tell them the family sent you, and get hooked up.
I met my wife in the cannabis industry. Like I've had people that are in cannabis, some of the biggest brands and accessories call people potheads. Like my wife had a brain tumor. We weren't supposed to have kids. I've been in cannabis my entire life. I've been the black sheep of my family because I've been in cannabis, and this is what we love. It's like me and my wife share, we're not gajillionaires. Nobody on the team, we're not gajillionaires there at all. We don't have Rolexes. We're not living those life. Me and my wife share a paycheck, but we absolutely, it's that Jim Carrey thing. I'd rather be dead broke and do what I'm doing right now than be, being filthy rich and hating my life every single day I clock in and out. Hating it. I have never done that because I've always loved even waiting tables. I loved what I did. I've always been a great employee. But I could only imagine though, like looking back at that, I've been not doing what I'm doing today and being like, man, I would have truly didn't know the true pleasure of life, of knowing how to create something like this and having families and having other people rely on our brand and on our stash, on our hard work. And having people look up to us. And, that's the biggest thing. People are like, I want to make products one day. I really look up to you guys. That's like, do it up, bro. Please, whatever you need, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you. I have 3D printers. I'll print things out for people for free. If they're trying to try things out, I'll CAD it out for them. I'll tell them what programs to use, how to get the programs for free. I'll find them logistics. I'll find them shipping, manufacturers. I don't care what it is. I want to see people succeed. If you're a good person, you're a hardworking person, I want you eating. That's what we want. We need healthy, strong eating people out here that are respecting one of another, We need a very full table of people that are just hungry. We all respect each other. We all eat. We all have some food here for you. Here's a drink for you. Hey, thanks for that. Thank you so much, Because there's always that day that I've needed that hand, like, man, I just need to be picked up right now. And boom, I got you, dog. Boom, that's it. There was nothing else. No questions asked about that. And then I just knew that my mission at that point was to do that same thing next. I got you, dog. No questions asked. That's it. What do you need me to do for you? The same thing I just did today to somebody else. That's it. And if we just do that in this industry, man, we'll all be eating. We'll be all doing good. We'll be all pack odds. You know what I'm saying? We'll be all living that life. Someone that's looking up to you right now, watching the show, that Blackley, that guy that wants to be that, has that capability. A lot of people look at Stache or look at what we do and say, that's not possible. It's too late to do that. And maybe it is, you're a little late to the game. You are. It will be hard. But if you really want it, man, nothing's too hard. Just keep going.
I love that. It shows the entrepreneurial spirit, and it shows how you pieced it together to make it work.
Yeah.
And now you're living what you dreamed of years before that.
Yeah.
You're like, how would I even develop a product? And everyone tells you it costs a lot of money to make a mold, and I'm going to have to deal with people in China. I've never even been to China.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you start to set these barriers of entry in front of yourself and talk yourself out of it. You basically were like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I love that, man. It shows the entrepreneurial spirit, and it shows the passion behind you wanting to live your own life, right?
Yeah,
it's like you not
100%.
having to be like, you know what, I'm just going to settle up and go do this
Yeah.
and make this company millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I want to do this for my family and the people around me
Yeah.
and yourself.
Yeah. I've always wanted to have a son, and I want to leave something for him, or, leave something for somebody else to be able to have that same passion that I do to run this. I think something I'll never do is sell this to that person or give up Stache to that person that doesn't have the passion that I do. Because I think Stache in itself, the products that we make, like what you're saying, if the person that's standing behind Stache doesn't have the same passion I do, you won't have Stache. You'll just have another white label company, another company that some guy's looking through a catalog like, this is a cool thing. Let me rip off some company, put my logo on it, like Dr. Dabber, I keep mentioning homies, but they made these products, they're not a rip off of something else, and that's why people always say, well, why'd you make a torch-based system? Why don't you make it electric? How many more do you need? How many more Dr. Dabbers do you need out there? They do it right. Let them do their thing. I'm going to do my thing. And then people say, well, what about the grinder? You went into the grind industry. I'm going to go wherever I see an issue. The rigs are doing great. They're doing a great job. But when my grinders are getting stuck and I'm using a butter knife to open it up, and I'm outside on the concrete trying to open up my grinder because I just put some fireweed in there and now it's stuck together because these teeth go millimeters apart. And once that pollen, because every single design of the teeth, the tooth, the grind, they're terpenes, trichomes. That thing wasn't even a word when these guys made these grinders. They have patents just like we do. Their patents are 12 years old. With beasters, when you could get beasters at best, maybe some orange peeled middies, but that wasn't terped out. That was just some orange peel that you put in your middies, and now it just smells like orange. It's not. It is I guess a form of terpene.
Orange tech.
Yeah, but it wasn't a thing. So like the stickiness of it, when we went to these pre-roll facilities and seeing what people are using for the grinders and pre-rolls, it's embarrassing. Meat grinders. Okay. The one brand we're talking about that makes the cone fillers, and I have the same thing that they sell as a grinder, but I have 2 acres in my yard, so I have a lot of leaves. These are leaf whackers that people are doing. You're going from a premium product, and then they're just like, hey, man, I'm going to get this Lambo. I'm going to get this AMG, take all that crap off of it, and just put not that stuff on it, and then sell it to people for that exact same thing. But it's not like you could have just left the car as is and sold it to me. Why'd you take all that stuff off? I don't know. It's easier, time saving for me. This is how I see they're taking a quality product. Like so many brands growers are putting all this time and effort into it. And these facilities are just processing these literally meat grinders. And I'm like, yo, is that a meat grinder? And they're like, oh, we have this other one too. And they just throw these 3 pounds in there and I'm like, watch how fast it does. And it was like, and I'm like, what is that dust all over the side? Isn't that the stuff you want? Isn't the THCs? Isn't that all the flavors? And I was like, and then people are saying, man, this terps on this pre-roll isn't the same that I get on the bud. And you're like, you're definitely not right. They whacked it all off. They got it and demolished the weed, So we just want to gently remove the stems from the flower. Nowadays when you find a seed, that's a boost. You don't even want to break that up, That's from the homie Josh Wax there. We met them at Hall of Flowers. And again, it was that collaboration. We want to work, and any flower companies out there, Blackleaf, anybody, that wants to do grinder collaborations with us, that's what we want to do, because fireweed should be put into fire grinders. And so we're getting ready to do something with Josh Wax too. We want to be able to do that. We feel that if you have good fireweed, it should be used and consumed in a bong and a great style of paper with great rolls of great tips. Like you have a great tip on your pre-roll, on your hash roll, right? Specific, someone made that's tipped specifically for you. You could have just used some generic crappy, but you had something specific for it. So why nobody really thinks about that? Like what happens when you put that weed in here? You know, you just, and then at the end of the day, you have your weed in here. Like, hey, it has to be the same potency, but when you look in here, like, holy crap, there's a bunch of stuff in here still. And it's not just the leaves, it's not stems up there. It's the stickiness. The stickiest part of it is up here. So even with ours, get the brush that it comes with it and just brush it right back on there. Mm-hmm. When you're done that, just go like this right here. Just do this real quick. It takes 3 seconds. And you'll notice the difference in the potencies in the way you're smoking. You'll be like, wow, I'm getting a lot higher. And that's what it was. I was like, man, I feel like the quality of the weed when I use my grinder, it's not like I went out of my way. I was like, hey, let's go test the weed. It was just like, I feel like the weed's coming better. I feel like I'm getting higher off my grinder. I was like, I don't know what it is. And then we met some people that are like, we test weed. We were at an event and they were weed testing thing next to us. And I was like, bro, can I see what happens to weed when I put it in my grinder? And they're like, yeah. And then I was like, what if I bring you like a bunch of grinders? And I was like, can I see what happens when I put it in all of the grinders? He was like, for sure. And I was like, let's do it up.
That's what we did.
I love that.
We pretty much brought 5, 6
Did you guys document it?
Yeah. I have all the information on it too. We tested ours against 5 other standard ones in the market.
Electric ones too.
Electric, diamond cut, square cut, elongated teeth.
Best brands, top brands.
We just benchmarked the end results because we didn't know the testing percentage of the flower beforehand. Ours tested around 26%, 26.1%. The electric grinder came out to like 21%. The square cut teeth came out to like 22%. And don't get me wrong, like some of the diamond and other ones came up to 23, 24, but that's still anywhere from 2 to 5% THC loss.
Yeah.
And ours was the only one that was able to test for the company we used. It doesn't tell you exactly the terpene level. It says medium, low, or high. Ours were the only one that tested medium. We got tested for CBC, which is a hard one to test for as well. We tested for CBA, CBG, all of that. And other ones, like things weren't showing up or they were NA, non-applicable.
Yeah.
There was not enough non-detectable. Ours, it just worked.
And we're taking it to a different level too, where now we're working on different materials too. So we have that we've just awarded some other patents too. It's our V2 that we're coming out with. And it's going to be an accessory too. But the material, it's a soft material. It doesn't tarnish the product at all. Nothing gets stuck to this material at all. Like it's impossible for things to stick to it. So it's at first when it was kind of a happy accident again, I was using this material to clean my grinder. And I was like, I wonder if I can grind the weed with it. And I just put weed in there and I just like went that. And then I looked at it, I was like, wow, there's nothing in here.
Only thing you see at the top maybe are some stems that are left behind, which is even a bigger boost. So you're not even smoking your stems.
It's not strong enough to break the stem. So the material is super soft. It's like abrasive and sticky enough that it holds the weed, that it breaks it apart, but not strong enough to break the stem. So then like at the end of the day, you're getting like, man, there's a bunch of stems up here too. It was super happy accident, man. And it was nothing. Again, we didn't want to take the test. It was kind of like we were at an event to these guys. I was like, let's see if and we're walking into this testing facility. And I looked at him and we're in the car and I'm like, bro, we're about to test this grinder out, right? So I was like,
what if it doesn't work out?
I was like, what if we pay to find out that we have a shitty grinder? And I was like, we're going to be sitting on that, right? And then I got to change everything up. All these distros are buying my grinder already. We got patents and I put money on patents. And I'm like, oh my God, I should have done this prior. And I'm like, man, we're sitting ducks if this is not the case, dude. You know? And then boom, and then we're sitting there, and then the results come, and I'm like, all right, we're better than one of them. All right. We're better than the best brand. Oh, we're better than that one. We're better than all of them. You know, and that's when I was like, all right, we're good. We're on the right track with this now. So how can we do that in an industrial? And we want to get to that's why we're going to MJ BizCon. We want to get into cone filling. We want to get into the industrial aspect of what we're doing now. We do the consumer, but we want to start helping your product shine in the mass. You know, when you can get 1,000 pre-rolls with the perfect terp profile that it did in its original nug, you know, and that's what people want. Or for you to have, you know, the nugs that don't have any of that stuff that was taken off of it.
That's the one. Yeah. The number 3 is really nice on that one.
But no, he's
that's
totally
local in DC too.
No one should be using meat grinders anymore.
Yeah,
flour. It should be completely made.
Or leaf shredders. You shouldn't be using, you know, things that you do yard work with. you know?
Yeah. Well, dude, literally one of the biggest things that I saw launch like in the last year or two was it looks like a weed whacker.
Yep.
And it literally spins around with the weed whacker tips to break up the weed. And it's crazy because when you're talking about it keeping terpenes and THC, we're not even getting into what's being released on some of the cheaper grinders into the flower.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you're smoking residual, like you said,
Zinc alloy,
metal and zinc alloy,
plastic.
I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
And you're doing
like
this
this
to
one.
stay healthy, and you're buying, you know, you have a $400 or $1,000 ounce and you're grinding it up with zinc alloy.
Well, people say like, just go. Like I've said it 1,000 times before we really got into the thing. We'd go to
Unknown.
tons of states because we travel a lot,
So we don't know which one
and we
it
get there. I always get a bong, and I'm always like, "Yo, did you get a cheap grinder?" It's in the word that I say. How many friends?
That's what we used to do.
You say it. I guarantee you. You go to a different state. You say, "Let me just get a cheap grinder. I don't care what
Funky.
it is. You know, plastic."
We can't have
grinder."
cross combos, guys. Let's one thing at a time. Sorry. It's hard to listen to
What'd you
when
say?
there's 4 conversations going on at once.
We're smelling some weed here.
Oh,
Talk
my
about
bad.
junk food. What is
Junk
this?
Food is it's a DC brand. Honestly, shout out Junk Food. You know who you are. That's the family. He is a small batch grower out of DC. You know, a lot of people say, you know, smoke salt, smoke living soil. Homie is using salts and it's fire every time.
It's in the grower. It's not in the technique, in my opinion. Obviously, there's technique to it, but when the grower cares and puts in the effort, it really shines. Like we've had 100 versions of organic, 50 versions of living soil, 1,000,000 versions of salt, and fire is fire.
Exactly.
Like it's not like, well, everything we've had of living soil just is better, or everything we've had organic, or everything we've had salt based is better. It's really the grower and the brand and the strain.
It comes
and
to
the
the
care.
genetics. Like my homie right now, he's running these Farming Stone genetics.
Yes.
I think Farming Stone runs great plants for washing or great plants for smoking. And as long as you're going with true, tried and tested brands, even if there's new guys coming out, like try your shit. If it smokes the way you like it, use it. 100%.
Farming Stone, which I know because of 710 Labs. He works with them closely.
Mhm.
They're from Maryland. You know that? Brad
No,
from 710
710.
Labs.
Is from Maryland.
Yeah.
So he when we started doing, when the Rio popped off, he hit me up on the DM and was like, "Yo, thanks for putting another person putting Maryland on the map."
Hey.
And I was like, "Oh, you work for 710?" He's like, "This is Brad. I'm the owner of 710." And I was like, "Bro, collab." I was like, "Anything, I'll do anything." I was like, "This is an opportunity of a lifetime." And he's like, "Oh yeah, hit us up." And I was like, "Yo, just like look up in your DMs, like just scroll up and you'll see like the creeper vibes real quick. Like, hey Brad, like, it got weird, Brad, like look up there, bro." But it was like, "Hey Brad, love 710, love the quality you guys put in the time and the effort. Like even like the little filters you use on his joints, so like the raviolis, or not the raviolis, they're the pasta ends. Super cool. That's a cooling method to doing that too. Actually, that spiral, it cools like the weed off."
You know what's interesting is you remind me of them based on, they do a lot of product development as well. So a lot of the stuff that they do, their joints, their hash, even the little top that goes on the hash jar, where they're like, no, we're going to do a little metal top that because we want to keep the moisture out of the hash. Like they do a lot of R&D product development and spend a lot of extra money being like, this is why we do this, because our product, we feel our product's better this way.
Yeah, sure.
It's a lot of like what you guys do with Stache, where a lot of the things you're putting out is because you're like, this is something we need to do because the industry is missing it.
Yeah.
Or right now we're smoking zinc alloy. Like that really fucks my head up, bro.
Yeah.
To think about how many grinders Pack and I have bought on like trips where we run in and buy a $20 grinder and use it for the trip. And the whole time we're smoking some of the best weed on the planet through and I guarantee there were shards of metal in that.
Not even that. The best parts of the weed was stuck on the grinder still, because you get the grinder, right? The two piece plastic traditional grinder, right? You get it, you blow up, and then you pop, pop, pop.
Literally.
That pop, pop, pop.
Bam, bam.
That impact is the dangerous part right there. The impact, that corner to corner. Because on my aerospace aluminum, it can bend it. We don't paint. We use anodized, so it's electronically changes the color of the metal. Okay, so that's different than paint. We never paint anything.
Chip.
We don't even put like a ceramic coating on something. That's like, it's not a car. I don't want to. What do I need a ceramic coating on? It doesn't rain on my grinder. I don't need like raindrops to glide off my grinder. Why do I need a ceramic coating on there? So we don't put any kind of like any of that on there because it's just not necessary. But that's what we wanted. We started thinking is like, man, we did all these tests. People are doing tests on carts for heavy metals, right? So that's our agenda now is all education on the flower. Number one product is flower. It's king. You know, the cool, sexy product is always going to be oil or whatever. But, you know, we make a product for that too. But at the end of the day, I smoke more flower. I smoke snaps. I smoke joints. I love the flower more. Like I relate to it more. So we're going in that direction full blown now. We want to know what happens when you put it in those meat grinders in a dispensary. You know, what happens to that hard work you put into it? You know, are they making you look bad now? Are they making your weed look bad? Is it not growing and they're not selling it because of dude put it in a meat grinder? You know, they're getting these meat grinders. I was sitting there talking to a lady and I said, what's your biggest problem with this? Do these things get stuck often? 30 seconds later, she goes, it's stuck. And they just get the whole new machine and they just switch it out for another one. Meat grinder, man, where you put meat in it and they come up, you know, burger meat to make out of it. You know, but nobody is thinking about that. Like it's not sexy to make a grinder, you know? That was like some dorky stuff that I was just sitting there and I was like, man, what happens to my weed, bro? Like, it's like my grinder's been ripping me off for 20 years, bro. It's like I almost got pissed off by it. I was like, damn, my grinder's been stealing
there's some
from
grinders
me,
that they literally eat the weed.
Yeah.
Like you're like, dude,
Where
I
did we
put
go?
a bunch of nugs in there and then I got a little, and you're just like, this fucking grinder.
Where did we
shit.
go? Yeah.
And it eats your weed, like to the literal sense.
It's gone.
And you think it's like, oh, maybe it was just a dense snug or something like that. People are like, oh, it's just a dense snug. And then you look in your grinder's like, it's probably like a 0.3 in there worth of the good stuff, all the good stuff.
And it's something too, like I love how you said a lot of products in our space haven't been innovated upon. They were originally made for tobacco or for really shitty weed that looks nothing like it does now, or not even weed. And then we've just used them because that's all that's available. So we use it. And then now we're getting into a space where it's like, there's no need for that.
No.
Let's develop. And it blows my mind because I've been to friends' houses that when they open their grinder, the color is completely worn off of the grinder for how long and I'm like, they smoked that. Man. They smoked that coloring. That's crazy, bro. That's scary.
And they're affordable. Like our 5-piece grinder is $34.99. Our 4-piece is $29.99. And then our 3-piece grinder is $24. So our biggest competitors, you actually said him earlier. And we respect the crap out of them because he is innovating too. Like
100%.
They are doing something different. But something that we really, 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 really want to do is we have quality material. And we always keep that money in that person's pocket. The economy right now, what their average person is going through, they're not buying that $90 hash. A lot of my friends that trap, a lot of my friends that are in the industry, they're saying, man, a lot of my friends are, you know, buying the cheaper stuff right now. You know, the higher end stuff is not selling as good as the lower end stuff. Because why? It's the economy, dude.
Dude, look at the glass industry in a whole. People were buying $60,000, $80,000, $40,000, $30,000, $20,000 rigs, you name it.
Yeah.
That is rare these days.
$40 pipes.
Yeah. Even the guys I know who were buying that then are not doing that now. Not like they were. It just shows you when the economy suffers and like you said, you drop one of those rigs, bro, I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
I still can to this day can remember certain rigs that we've broke or have been broken by people that I'm like, God, I wish I still had that one. I never recoup on those rigs.
No.
You hope that your friend who breaks your rig is someone who's got some money.
Yeah.
So you can be like, hey, bro, you know, but that's rare.
No, yeah.
That tastes phenomenal, by the way. What did you roll up?
Yeah, you want to try it too?
I'm good right now.
What'd you roll
That's
up?
the sure banger.
5.
OG.
As soon as you hit it, you can taste that one immediately.
What is it? 8 with Rainbow Bells 3.0?
Yeah, 3.0.
Yeah, that was the one I smelled that I was like, damn,
It's
great.
Well, if you want to roll
It-
something up,
It literally tastes as soon as you smoke it. Try this. So this is something different. Who did this? This is the Junk Food brand.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of?
So it's based out of DC,
man.
bro.
Oh, dude! Shout out to them, man. I'm smoking. This is phenomenal, dude. You did a great job. This is tasting like it smells, burning proper. I mean,
So my
Great
homie
joint.
is a certified electrician. You know, the best people in the trade are tradesmen.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
whether
totally
it's
agree.
construction, electrician, if you can do HVAC,
Yeah.
plumbing.
those are all the
you
people
name
you
it.
need. And low key, like that's what he wants to do. He wants to build out like grows for people and also do his own shit.
Great job, brother.
He puts a lot
Fire.
of time
Great job.
into his weed. He's like, I feel like a lot of the weed, like his like junk and Josh, it's like, and then our boy Swank in Vegas, like
Yeah, right.
they put like this time and effort into it, and they're like they're smaller batch, but it's not. Even I think if they were a big batch, they would find people to manage the other ones just as regularly as they do, because these guys are they're like that. Like, man, like Josh, man, he puts like this. We met him at
Hall Flowers.
Hall of Flowers, and we see him. We see him months later. Same exact momentum, same exact thrive, same exact
He's
like
not
passion
stopping.
for it, you know. And I don't feel like he's cutting any corners. Like when we were in there, and he's like, "Nah, dude, I stand about one thing, like quality, no chemicals." And like every room, he was like, "Nah, we'll never do that." He's like, "It's about the quality." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude," because I could, save 20% on a grinder if I made it out of zinc. No, not even, dude. 80%. If I injection, because a zinc alloy, you can injection mold. Okay. These are CNC'd on a machine every single time.
This is a full piece of metal that they
Yep.
break
Solid.
down to
Yep.
each pieces versus something
can
that's
see it. So when you
melted
open
and
it
then
up,
injected.
You'll see the marking. So that
On the
on the
inside.
rainbow one, you can see the most. You can see those little,
yeah.
that's a CNC markings. So that we do not injection mold, because you can't injection mold aerospace aluminum. You would have to get to like ridiculous
I love the
temperatures.
care that you have for your products. Very few people, not to say in this space, just in life,
Sure.
don't think through this. This is like, I'm not gonna, but Apple level think through, right? How is the user going to use this? What is the offshoots off this? What are the fails before me? How can I improve on this?
Sure.
And then where are we going from there? That's a lot of forethought.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, before you even start to make this, like where's our lane in this? I love that you're caring about the consumer experience and not just selling a product and making a profit.
No. We want to be deep roots in the cannabis accessory industry. Like we could get into Delta. We could get into selling mushrooms right now. We can get into selling raw cones. Like
Or
we
not.
know all those dudes. We could sell Dr. Dabbers on the side, but it's like, hey man, like we're good at one thing, which is being really great, personable guys to work with, and making the most innovative products and being extremely honest about it. Like that's what I've always told all these guys. Like he runs my support, and it's like when people say, hey, what do you want us to say about your product? Or it's like, well, I'm just send it to you, use it.
Yeah.
And if you don't take dabs, give it to somebody.
It's a cool feat.
Oh, the
Top
storage.
screws
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
Fit like 3
I
to
didn't
4
even
grams.
realize
yeah,
that.
the storage.
I was like, how is he opening the top? I watched him do it. I'm like, what?
That
are you
one has
doing?
storage, and that one you can also use as like
Dude.
an ashtray.
so that's the ashtray one, and then the three
I was
pieces
wondering
for
about
wood
this.
finish.
Very
Each
Each of
smart.
them have a kind of their own unique
Yeah.
utility. Like the 3-piece is for like the simplest. They don't want their keys
With the
being
wood
stolen
finish,
by like a
nice little, and only 2 colors in that, which is the gunmetal and black, and then the 4, and then in that we have that, and we're coming out with a 75 millimeter too, so like a big
Yeah.
boy, because Josh
good.
was like, dude, I need a 75, so I was like, I got you.
And I
You
then
know what?
these-
You
the
know
little
what the
ones
next
too.
step is? The next step is the people who do the hash holes. They have the large one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's
So that's what I was saying. Where industrial is next, man. I'm
they
telling
would
you.
love to.
Yeah.
I literally was watching them the other day, and it's the same with the No Till Kings when we did their grow tour. They showed off a huge grinder, and they're like, "This is the only one in the." It really fucks my head up
Sure.
that there could be metal getting in my in product.
So
Or
I have-
a lot of people who buy a $20 because grinder's a grinder.
I would show you guys of I don't know. I know everybody. I actually don't want anybody on there to be able to see, but I would only want you guys to see it anyway too. It's like a prototype I made pretty recently.
Can I? I'll explain a little. It's basically an automatic turner. It turns
Yeah.
the grinder for you because my grandma and a lot of people, even if I was to give my mom this and
Yeah.
stuff some weed in here,
Yeah.
she would probably have a hard time
Exactly.
because not to say just females, but when you get older, you do.
Anybody,
you get a lot of, it just doesn't, you don't have the strength in these joints.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Wow.
So like a lot of people too, we've met a lot of people without hands, military, armed forces, and then in the medical aspect of the thing that you were just talking about, that imagine that big thing you're talking about, but when you go down, it does it in a very, because the thing is this, people are like, we want to do a pound in 1 second. I'm like, calm down. Okay. What if we can do like a half a pound in 5 minutes and you have a great quality product at the end? It's like, but how can I do a pound? Get 2 machines, and you have a better quality product. You won't need, a room more of people. It's not going to cost you more in labor. It's just going to cost you more in machines. And I think that's okay because it's the quality aspect of what you're getting at the end. If you, if you can be like, you sell pre-rolls and you can say, hey, test my pre-roll compared to the next dude's pre-roll. And I guarantee my THC is higher, guarantee my terpenes are higher, guarantee my flower is not destroyed, and I guarantee the humidity, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And people just start caring and start thinking, yo, I'm buying all these pre-rolls. Whoa, wait a minute. Where is this? Is this the bottom of the bag stuff? Is this the bottom of the barrel stuff? Because that's like everybody thinks. Everybody thinks it's the shake. That's where pre-rolls come from. And I always tell people, no, it's not that much shake out there. It's really, they grind it, bro. They grind tons of nugs, maybe, smalls, or, sometimes they don't care what they're grinding because the thing turns it into dust. So they'll just throw it in there. But it's not just shake. I think if it was shake, it'd probably be a better quality of product, to tell you the honest truth.
It's a lot of little stems.
I've emptied out some pre-rolls before and holy shit.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, that's the same problem in that market. It's the same problem with the dabs. People get a bad experience and they're like, I'm good. Like right now, if you offer me a pre-roll or something, I'd be like, nah, I'm straight.
That's why there's a market
Unless
for
it was
hand
a
rolls.
reputable hash hole or a donut or something like that. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I get you.
Pre-roll, you're taking the shit, like you said, smalls. A lot of smalls getting used.
Yep.
A
lot of stuff that couldn't even get sold in a flower package.
Sure.
So it's like, why would I want that? It is bottom of the barrel shit for the most part. For most of the market, the pre-rolls are,
We're
especially some of these pre-rolls too that you see are coated with keef and all this other shit.
Why do you think it needs that?
It's anyone who's really smoking good weed, why would you?
I don't need all that.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
Well, now, and this guy, he just fucked my head up for good. Now that's the stuff you're seeing. Now
more of that.
What they're grinding that with, because they're doing such a large amount with those like crazy ass pre-rolls. You're saying they're using those grinders that have
smoking metal shavings, dude.
Or it's a weed whacker. The newest one has literally weed whacker teeth
inside,
and it spins around
fast.
This plastic, and it spins around.
Plastic.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be. So think about what's not being tested for. That's why you buy cheap and you get cheap.
Yeah.
You got to spend on quality, and the only thing you can ever say with quality is, well, it was expensive.
Or you don't want to buy. You don't want to buy quality, then botch it up with some cheap shit.
Or you're getting tricked.
A lot of the time, that's what's happening.
Yeah, $1,000 ounces, like you say, and then people are putting it in a. I won't name the grinders, but yeah, or even a $50 grinder because they're not. And you don't know, like I've seen so many people, where the color is colored off, right? And you're like, oh, that got smoked now. I was just thinking, yeah, wear and tear, it got worn, but you're like, worn into where?
Yeah.
Worn right into your weed. Yeah. And then you're not taking into consideration how your weed's actually getting ground up. Mm-hmm. Some people will just like, oh, I like this grinder because of the way why? And you're like, oh, because it fluffs it up. It keeps the terpenes rich. It doesn't. I love how
I think it's brand aspect. I think for me, before I had my own grinder, I was very brand loyal.
Yes.
Grinder. So that's what was for me. People would be like, "Oh, what are you up?" Like, "Oh, I'm all." I was Cali Crusher all life for like I had
years.
20 plus minimum, and I know all these dudes. So, but I was, and one guy, my other homies, was like, "Oh, I'm all this about." I mean, it was more of like that. It was like, it's like you're a roar guy or you're this bong kind of guy. So. And now I think it should be about function too. It should be about function. It should always be about function. It shouldn't just be about brand. These aren't clothings. We're not selling Louis Vuitton here. These are consumable items then you got to use a product to consume that with. So it's like if you had really bad inhaler with really bad inhaler parts inside of it, then it's like everybody's like, it has asthma, should be dying. Like, why? I mean, they look nice and they're branded really tight and they had to come in sick packaging, but we put in this tumbler and then the gases get out. So there's there's no inhalation when it gets to you, but it looks tight. Like, what was the point of all that, man? You're killing people left and right, but it looks tight. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I'm not cannabis. I mean, I'm not tobacco. I am not alcohol. I want my cannabis, my contribution to cannabis, because I don't do what the art you guys do. My contribution to it, I want to have that respect in it and knowing, hey, I owe this to that person that goes on my website. Like, he does support and nobody does support better than him. Like, I used to work at Chick-fil-A prior to doing this, and it's my pleasure. You don't lose people at Chick-fil-A over sandwiches or anything like that. We don't lose people over broken glass or torches. We know people are in rough times. We have a whole category of glasses that have like the logo might be smudged. So we won't sell it. Okay. I won't charge $1 for it, but we have it there, like maybe a couple hundred pieces that we've never sold. And then people are like, hey man, I've had this glass for like a year and a half. I just lost my job. And we're like, say less. Will you pay for shipping? You have $7. It's like, cool. We'll send you this glass, bro. And then we end up sending them a battery for free, some stickers, been there, dude, been there, done that. Maybe it wasn't for weed. Maybe it was like for food, or for something like that. But we know we're humans first. Then we're a brand. We pay our bills. And then, we'll profit. We'll be the Dr. Dabber one day. We'll be the 710 Labs one day, and if I don't, my son will, or whoever's running it after me will. That's what all I care about. It's not about me. I pay my bills. I got plenty of weed. I'm married to a beautiful woman that I love to death. A beautiful child. I love my parents. It's like, I'm living the life that I would have murdered for 20 years ago. Literally, people are like, the house of your dreams. You can work in cannabis, smoke weed every day, travel to all these places, go talk to some sick people and smoke cannabis and talk about it. Yeah, man, that's what you're going to do. And be like, who am I killing to get that job? That sounds like not a reality. What kind of weird stuff do I have to do for this job? And now we're doing it. I'm like, I'm so lucky to do what I do, to do what we all do, to be around each other and do this, not hiding it too.
I love it. I think it's a blessing that people of this business are creating within the business and improving products that we all use day to day.
Yeah.
I love that. I think we need more of that. It's what Pac and I talk a lot about behind the scenes is things we use every day. And then, wow, why doesn't this, or why isn't this like, it's like, oh, well, yeah, that was made 95 years ago for tobacco.
Yeah.
Or that jar. It's like, even with I see you have patents.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd love some advice on that just for the audience. But that alone, you had to get your tobacco patent or your tobacco products patent. You didn't have to, but originally when we were trying to do jars, right? If you were doing a jar or a grinder or even papers, it was like, oh yeah, tobacco products. That's where your patents in.
Even my curtain 13 years ago when we went for our first patent, they wanted to put us into the tobacco aspect of it, but we found ways to go into the electronics aspect of it, so we didn't want to go. I was very against being tobacco. I was free of smoking. So I went that route. And for now 13 years we have 14 utility patents. So it's the utility, it's how it functions. It's not just how it looks. So all the products out on the table are utility patented. And then we have plenty of other ones that we've never even released. So we've been, we've been, stolen from, I would say hundreds of times. I would say in 2021, we almost had to close doors because the fakes got so bad. And this is the aspect of the patent thing you're talking about is, I put, instead of making all this money myself and just being like, I'm going to get a rollie, I'm going to get me some gold teeth. I don't know, dude. I don't know, something. I was like, no, I'm going to keep reinventing these mold fees and fucking putting this shit in my patents, protect my art. the time, the effort that me and my team put into this, going out there and making something brand new or making something that much better, okay, in my own way to make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's feet. That's the most expensive thing that I do. And then to defend it, I learned that it was impossible because the guys because I have to take all these steps to get to the product. And then all he does, the guy that makes all that money, he just goes, I'll put my logo on this, please. And then what about all this money, prototype, mold fees, patent fees, traveling, making it over again, almost being ready to release and then bringing it all back. And then, oh my God, what happened to all that? Nothing. None of that is invested. So you don't have the money to fight him. We've now found lawyers that do that. We found it in China first. So we found the people who are making it in China, the fake ones. We won those lawsuits. That was a lot of money. And then we found we're not going after shops. We know a lot of mom and pop shops just don't even know who we are. We're going after distros that bought from us, and then they put our logo on it. Because we have trademarks, copyrights, and it says Rig and One on it. It says Rig and One on it. It says Cookies or Backwoods, Rig and One, or Rick and Morty, or something like that. And we're in California. we went down to downtown LA, and
we were just talking about that.
Yeah,
so I was hoping you'd tell this.
And we went down there, and we got some distros that have bought and we've told them, I'm like, yo, I have these fakes, and they're like, oh yeah, man, that must suck. Like, we would never do that to you guys. Like, we're here for you, man. Like, we're part of the team. We believe in you guys. And we're like, oh man, for sure, homie. And then like we go up in there and we're like, hey, yeah, we're from the East Coast. And we want to open up a wholesale account. We want to buy some products. And like, cool, come into our warehouse. And I'm like, oh, look at these. Can you get a lot of these? They're like, yeah, as many as you want, homie. Like, we'll get you a bunch. I'm like, cool, let me get one. And I just need a receipt, just a sample. And they're like, got you. I'm like, cool. We're like seven fakes in. We're like, next one, boom, another fake. Next one, boom. The biggest one out here, people that we've worked with and buy our products, and we see them and we break bread together. And it's out here. It's like, man, you probably affected me the most because you're huge out here. You're one of the biggest out here. That means you affected me a lot. And it's like, not just me, my other distros, like Tubes Distribution. We visited them out here. They're from California. Tubes Distribution.
They're fine.
Shout out to them. They're super honest dudes. They're from Cali. They work hard. And the bunch of families support them. So like, even when people steal from that, those guys that are selling the real ones, they're getting affected by it. Everybody. There's a whole chain line of people that get affected by it.
100%.
It's not just me. It's not just my family. It's his. It's everybody.
All the people who support us too.
100%. So we want people, and I told my lawyers too, we don't want this to be like we don't want to keep doing this for like 20, 30 years or something. We want to do the 5 biggest ones that are doing it the worst, they're hurting us the most, and just make sure that other people know, hey, if you're going to copy somebody, don't do it here. Don't do it to us. Do it somewhere else. Take it somewhere else. Do it to somebody else. It's just don't do it to us. We want to continue to write our own music, paint our own stuff without having all this worry about, hey, like every day I wake, I'm like, when's someone going to copy my grinder? But like that brand that you're talking about, we found fakes of those there for like $25. But the biggest problem is, why they faked his and not mine? Price point. Homie's price point is up. My 3-piece is 24s. His is $79.99. I learned that with this. Again, every time you fall, you learn something. This joint was my biggest fall. It hurts. Oh, if I talk, I'll like literally cry. This joint hurt me so much. This product, I almost fucking hate it. It made me so much money, but I lost so much money from it. I had friends that I thought were like my friends that were stealing from me behind my back, like this. I love it, but I hate it, And I learned that with the grinder. I could have made this $60. I could have made the 5-piece $80. I could have made the 4-piece $80 and made the 5-piece $100. And I was like, nah. And everybody's like, dude, you're crazy. Nah, with wood finish, $24 out the door. When I tell that at shows, they're like, oh, that's a good distribution price. I'm like, no, that's my website price. That's retail. They're like, what? And I'm like, aerospace, test the material. We'll show you. You do your own testing on it. I'm not going to pay for it. You do your own testing on it.
What would be your advice to a brand then? Trying to get into a space where that's the market, right? It's like, it's that volatile where like you are going to get copied or they're going to be on you and try to copy you like that and steal your patent.
Don't stop. There's no nothing. Just like there's no anything that I could say really, because even again, unless you're just that dude that with that kind of money, like you can just compete, because sometimes you just meet the guy that has that kind of money too.
That's
like,
rare though. I guess constantly innovate. I can't to try to stay ahead of it, because it's like, as you continually have hits, they're going to copy that hit. Yeah. I guess it's the same thing in music and it's the same thing in weed, right? Yeah. A flavor hits, then everyone's got a version of it. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's how I know Zushi isn't Skittles Cushman's.
Sure.
It's, in my opinion, it's a ZBX2 or ZBX3, because I've seen so many KMZs or Skittles Cushman's and I'm like, oh, that doesn't remind me of Blue Zushi. Or Zushi. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's when a flavor profile or a name hits or a style or a product, but like, there's always people that are interested in doing their offshoot version of it.
Could you, I don't know enough about growing, but do you think you could patent a recipe or formula of growing? So that's what I'm saying, to make a Zushi. The reason why I think a lot of people do that is do the science and figure out how to patent your Zushi. And then you can be like, okay, this guy's selling the Zushi. Be like, I tested your weed, your son, my recipe, dude. You can't do that. You know what I would look to? I would say when Anheuser-Busch or whoever grows the hops for them, I bet there's some type of patent on 1,000%. What type of hops go into what percentage. If that's the case, then 100% cannabis will be the next thing. It's funny that these are the inputs. This is the method. Here's the strains that I grow with it. Because at first they were talking about trademarking strains, but then all it is a fight for everyone to just, I'm the one who created OG Kush. I'm the first one. Like that's just, it's just horrible how that would go. But it's very interesting because you're saying, utility, right? Of how you make it, how it's used, not just the look and the end product with the name attached. Yeah, you're probably right. That could be trademarked or that will be patented in the future. I would hope so. Even for glass artists, I think American glass artists should be going out of their way to patent their work too. That's a lot of time. A lot of glass artists always say, oh man, these guys are China's copying me. And then these dishers are selling your stuff. I'm like, patent it, bro. Design patents are the cheapest ones on the market. If it's your look that you're caring about the most, it's a quick, maybe $2,000, dude. That you might be able to write your own design patent. Design patents are not that hard, but they're pretty easy to beat. But if the look ultimately is what you care about, that's not going to be too hard to change, just kind of like you guys' logos, if people change it, they wouldn't want that logo. That's what people care about, is how that logo looks on that shirt and on that hat, so it's not about, oh, but I changed the R a little bit. Man, I don't care about that logo. Logo sucks. They want that logo. That opens up a lot of ideas. That's very interesting because it makes me think, okay, you're Pack Gods and you have 5 strains out of your signature line with branding. You would almost want to patent or trademark, whichever one is applicable, that line of strains through your brand so that no one can then say, no, I'm Pack Gods, and then these are my other strains. Sure. It's almost like a back door to blocking any fuckery. It applies to a lot of things. I think it's going to be very interesting over the next 50 years with cannabis, because even after legalization and then it becomes federal, then the trademarks can start to kick in and people can start to figure things out, especially with even products, right? Because you'll be able to then trademark this under cannabis use. Yeah, and that's what I'm very eager to do. That's why I've been asking my lawyer every day. I'm like, yo, when can we start doing these things all under cannabis, not under just electronics or general use, or we have to then do sometimes into numerous categories to get numerous protections, if we're just in cannabis and that's all I want to be in, let's just be in cannabis, and the United States government owns numerous patents on cannabis, in cannabis, about cannabis. It's not in some electronics or hemp, patent. It's a cannabis patent. So like on RSO and stuff like that. So it's like, why can't I have a patent on cannabis? I think especially in my state where recreational now is legal, medical now is legal, and like even importing, I have to importing my products, a grinder. Dude, this is a huge federal crime for me. No, but I'm just kidding. Like, but paraphernalia in general, bringing in, but because of the state that we live in, because of the ways that we bring our products in the correct way, allows us to do that. But like before, as an immigrant that I used to be, and I used to only have a green card for a long time because my mom works at the embassy in Brazil. But now that I'm a citizen, I don't have a lot of the same worries, and we changed a lot about the way that we import because of that. Because before, me and my entire family could be sent home for importing, things that are considered paraphernalia back to Brazil, like in a heartbeat. So, but I'm a full citizen now, and then we don't take any kind of like we don't live in any gray areas anymore in anything we do. I always say we make bank deposits. We pay taxes. We're a regular company. We're not like we're not a gifting place. Like there's a lot of gifting and trading things that happen in DC and Maryland. And we go to those and people are like, so how, like, what do you get with this? I'm like, oh, like a receipt. Like you pay me this and then you leave with it and then
take it home and use it again.
And they're like, yeah, but what do I get with it? Nada. A receipt. I have some Q-tips if you need some of that. And I got some butane you can fill it up with. No free weed with the products that we sell. Because that's just, I would love to do what you guys do, but I just I have the passion of smoking it. I don't have the passion into, finding new ways to grow it, or like even growing it or even like, I even tried to like get involved in and be like, oh, we can sell it and getting into dispensaries or like, I have no passion for that. Zero. I hustle products, I rather hustle big lighters at the end of the day. It's that hardware. Something about hustling a piece of metal to me, I don't know. That's my passion,
I think we need more people like that don't just jump into the weed because everyone else is doing it. I'm passionate about this, microcosm of the business. I'm going to dive into that and explore how I can make it better. Not just exploit it.
And go full blown
like
into it, man. Go full blown. Like if you really think about like in 10, 15 years, like me, Dr. Dabber, G-Pen, like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's like, you'll think about like, like imagine the guys that made this, or imagine the people that made this bump grinder, or like imagine the person that made the induction heated dab rig, or the people that came out with the tray that has the clothes at the top, something like that. And you're like, damn, what were these guys thinking? It's like, it's not the light bulb, but you know what I mean? Like I think about that stuff all the time. Like, man, how did someone invent bread? Like I made bread the other day and I told my wife, I was like, how did someone make bread? How was someone like, I'm gonna take this dust, right? I'm gonna mix it up and then I'm gonna bake it. It's gonna be like the sourdough. It's gonna be fire, dude. I'm gonna mix it up with some yeast, which is like I don't know, not the grain. Yeah, grain. And then it's gonna be like this, like who did that? Like somebody had to be, thinking of that. Like shout out to whoever invented, sourdough bread. But
people starving, I'm sure. How they used to put sawdust in bread to elongate how much they could make.
Yeah.
It was out of necessity. And
exactly.
I think a lot of great products are made out of necessity. You got paper clips, you got all these crazy inventions when you look around you. I mean, even to the point of like Bic lighter for sure has a patent on their own lighter.
Definitely.
Here, that's why you call it a Bic.
Yep.
But yeah, it's so interesting. And I love that you guys got into the innovation aspect of it. Where can people buy your products if they're interested in Stache, like the full line? They want to try the grinder. Like what's the best way to get at Stache?
So stacheproducts.com, ultimately. So STACHE products with an S at the end. So it's just like mustache. I used to have a giant mustache. So stacheproducts.com is going to be the best place to do that. You can also check out our Instagram at stacheproducts.com too. We always run like promos, or we do discounts on there. My wife is the one that runs it. So she comes up with all these really cool ideas to give people discounts all the time, to get like bundles or get things like that. But the website, and then your local head shop. go support your local head shop. Go support your local head shop. Go ask them if they have our products. If they don't, just tell them to hit us up and get it. Save yourself some shipping. I think that's going to be, they're the Marines of our industry, man. And right now the head shops are getting destroyed. So go support your local head shops. And if they don't carry your products, just tell them to pick it up and we'll hook them up. If
you're down in Florida, you can check out Cresco. Sunnyside.
Yeah, Cresco. Cresco is one of our biggest, dispensary, Sunnyside locations in down in Florida. They're in Pennsylvania. They're in a lot of locations.
New Jersey.
That's probably our biggest dispensary. They're over. I mean, we're in thousands of locations, but I think that in one brand itself, that's our biggest one that we're in.
Definitely, if you're looking for a grinder.
Yeah. You guys should try to work with them too.
Yeah, I was going to say too, man, we should do a first smoke code. So anyone listening to this that wants to try a grinder or wants to order a product immediately, it makes sense to here's a small discount or here's first smoke, and be able to, because you definitely got to try the grinders based on the fact that everything else probably in your stash is leaving some type of residue, whether it's metal or paint. There's very few grinders that are actually CNC'd, out of
it's expensive. I know Santa Cruz shredders. I know they're actually made here. And they are CNC'd as well. And again, they paved the way for people like us to be here. They've been doing this for a very, very long time. And, and I'm grateful that they did it, for us and open the doors for people like us to do that. So. But they make their stuff off, one at a time. CNC stuff too.
I love that. I love the care aspect, especially with the cost of what you're putting into the weed. Like the whole thing is this chase of the best weed available, right? Or the best product available to you. And then to not think about the other steps that you're taking to disrupt that. It's awesome. It's good. It's really cool, man. It's cool how we all met. We met organically.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then over the last year and a half almost, or because we met even before we saw you in Vegas. We've been able to kind of build this relationship. It's been a long time coming to get you guys on the show. Yeah. And we run your products. Everyone sees it on a lot of podcasts. You'll see the grinders on the table. We've been using them. We're a fan of this, man. We're a fan of your guys' brand. And it's awesome to be able to sit down and hear you following your passion, which is product development.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's not just my best friend, Reza. He's been here. He went to high school with me. He does all the packaging that we have. I mean, the packaging is the most fire packaging that we have. All my logos, this is the old school Stache kind of play on that S back in the days. I was a skater my entire life. I love Stache. My wife, I don't pay her a dime. We share a paycheck, but she does my website. She does everything. Adam's my support, does everything with me, willing to be here with me at any time. We're going to be crazy week coming up. So it's not the products. I always tell people I would say at the end of the day, it's the smallest part of what Stache is. It's about the support, the customer support, the salesmanship, and everything that goes behind just the product. It's a very small team, but we bring it to the table and we work really, really hard. And we appreciate you guys, giving us this platform too, to be able to come out here and, we've sat for hours driving, listening to your podcast and learned from other people being on here. Because now that I'm a father, having that thing, hey, go out and be that gajillionaire or spend more time with my family. I actually learned that on your podcast with somebody that was battling that too, and it kind of helped me make that kind of that decision in life. So there's a know that you guys aren't just, it's not, you guys aren't just talking about weed. There's a lot of people that do look up to you guys and really appreciate what you guys do out here, for myself, the community, and for everybody.
I can honestly speak for Pack and myself when I say this. Every podcast, we learn a lot.
Yeah.
Every time we get to sit down with someone, it's a blessing because we either learn about them or we learn about ourselves through them.
Yeah.
A lot of times when guests are speaking, they're speaking about stuff we're either going through or we've been through as well.
Hundo.
So it's always a blessing. We get to sit down with people who are chasing their passion and putting everything behind it.
Always.
Financially, their family, everything.
Everybody. Yeah. You have to. If you don't, just keep working your job. I think that's that one question you asked me earlier. It's what's that one thing you can tell me is that if you're not going to put 110%, just don't, because there are people like us that are in this room right now that do put 110% in. And I think that's it. If you can do that, then welcome on in. Come on in. You're going to be able to keep up in your race, and it'll be a lot of fun. But if not, keep that job. Keep that job.
That's a real shit right there. Real. And that should cut deep for anybody who's on the fence. If you're not ready to go all in on yourself, just stay on that side.
Yeah, keep that job.
You ain't gonna make it out here for real.
Yeah.
The Rio's tight. I love it. You guys really changed the game with that. And everything you guys do, man. Your passion for product design and you following your purpose and leading a better life and then helping people around you. It's cool. It's dope to see. And we always see you guys. You guys are always smiling. You're happy to be doing what you're doing. And that's contagious, bro. It's going to keep taking you a long, long way. So you guys keep fighting the good fight. Keep your fire burning light. And we're rooting for you guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep your stash safe. Upgrade your stash with Stache products at stacheproducts.com and at Stache products on Instagram.
It'd be a shame if we didn't hit this.
You guys hit a dab.
Let's do it.
You already know, man.
We're going to get on off the mic, which is a thing we do after the podcast and before. Okay. And we basically, it's us meeting and then it's us doing all this type of stuff after, smoking, talking, chatting, like a little bit more, I
wanted to be as coherent as this as possible because I wanted to really, to
say what you wanted to say.
No, you killed it, man. This has been a great pod. You can't compare.
Yeah.
You just can't
That's
compare.
my problem,
You just can't compare. It's never going to serve your purpose. And you're here for your own specific reason. And everybody's unique in their own right. And everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's journey is different. And
one of my biggest problems.
You got to just stay away from comparison because regardless, you're a contender. You're in the game, you're in the fight. And that's what matters. That's what counts. You're in 110.
Yeah.
And for some people, it takes them 20 years. For some people, they might get lucky in 2. Don't compare because
bro.
It ends up just leaving you confused about something that you'll never understand.
Yeah. It takes the glory away from today.
Yeah.
But I think it's like I said, man, I'm not lying. When I heard it on your show, it's again, it was like having 40 lights and, and one in one location and eating good, riding good.
Having balance in life.
Having that balance. And that's what's important, man. I had an AMG at one time when the Rio was doing the best at his time before all the copies. I mean, we were killing it. And I went from being a real broke dude from Brazil that came here. We lived in a real shitty car and we lived in it for a long time.
And that's why there is a difference because everyone's journey is different. Everyone's struggles are different. Everyone's ups and downs are different. So that's what makes your brand and you unique, right? That's why but they say comparison's the killer.
I wouldn't change a shit, not one night, not one empty stomach. Because that's what I know. Like, it's not about the watch. Because when I fucking die, that watch will stay here. And it'll be in some pawn shop and nobody will value it what I valued it, But what I leave, my son, what someone thinks about me, hey, is this dude honest? Has he kept his word? Did he help people? Was he willing to hold his hand out when he had nothing? That's all I care about at the end of the day. And my products, I just want people to know that I love the joy that people get out of them. It's not the money, because if we did it for the money, I used to make a lot more money doing things for other people, and I had no headache. I clocked out at 5. This is because I don't clock out anymore. I didn't do this when I didn't have my own business.
This man is literally one of the most caring people I've ever been around. He's the kind of dude, if he sees a dog just on the side of a road, there's no one around, whatever he has going on in his day, he's stopping, and that dog is the rest of his day until he finds that owner. Like, there's been countless times where I've needed this man on a random weekend.
Dude, in California that one time. I think God or life. I don't go to church, but I believe in God. I believe in a creator. We want to just be a much better brand. We forget about that real quick when we get that money. When we sit in that car that we've seen in a magazine every day, we're like, damn, this is tight. Hey, fuck the rest of the shit. This is all I care about. I don't give a fuck about nothing else, But then a bunch of fake Rios come and it put you on your ass, and you're like, damn, I forgot who the fuck I was. So I hate this shit that happened to me, but I'm so happy for the fake Rios because I'm humble today. I'm happy with that. I'm going to be mad successful. We're going to be the best company and brand, and I'm going to do it the right way, the correct way. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, brother.
I wanted to be really cool on the show.
No, you're good, man. This is special for the listeners and the viewers to be able to share this vulnerable moment. It's big of you not to try to put the wall up and to just live it out. You're an inspiration for a lot of people, and what you've already done is very impressive, and you'll continue to do that. And I can just tell that with the passion and the fight and what you've come from. If you would have come from good means, you wouldn't be here right now. You'd probably be lost in addiction. Probably be lost in addiction.
Yeah.
If I was I always tell people, I used to get into fights all the time. I mean, oh my God. They almost sent me to a school called Mark Twain or Noise, which is a school for kids that just fight too much. So if I was like, big, I would, there's reasons for everything that I am. You know what I mean? Like there's reasons for that. I'm just really good at doing certain things. I'm not a good reader. I don't read well, but I can learn how to CAD. I can learn how to use a CNC machine. I can teach myself how to do things that most people will never be able to do. And it took me a long time to realize, hey, I'm not stupid, because a principal, fucking piece of shit principal, fuck you, Durso, told me, hey, you're never going to be amount to nothing. You're going to be a piece of shit. You're going to be in jail by 22, because I didn't know how to react to not being smart. I didn't know how to react to not being able to read, because I came here when I was 6. I was an ESOL. They don't even have ESOL anymore. I had to, for the first 4 years of me being in school, I had to learn how to speak English. My best friend was Korean. We didn't even know how to communicate. I know Ama, Apa. That means mom and dad. I knew that, But for 4, 5 years here, no English, no nothing. My dad worked construction. My mom cleaned houses. And then they got into, doing their respectable, what they say is respectable jobs now, but they made more money then, but that's what it was, And when I dropped out of school, that was the biggest letdown for my parents. They put all that time and effort into me coming here, but now they love what I do.
They're his best friends, for real.
For a long time, they were really worried because, I use drugs and, always fighting, being a dummy. But once I turned that, like you said, that addiction into, I'm going to put 110% to everything I fucking do. And if I'm just not going to do it. Why don't you just sell Delta, Rod? You can make a rack of money selling Delta. Go sell cocaine, dog. Fuck that noise, dog. I want to do what I love, passionate about. If you haven't, that Jim Carrey, he had a beautiful thing, bro. Beautiful. Jim Carrey's dad, it was a beautiful thing, but do what you love. And if you do that, and if you do 110%, I promise you'll be happy and you'll make money. You'll be successful. And if you're not being successful right now, it's because you're not doing that. That's the exact thing right there. Okay. It's not about creating things. It's about doing that. Just do that. To be honest and try really, really hard and work really, really hard. Just like Josh here, right? Camera guy. At one point, he probably wasn't as good as he is at what he does right today, but now he's a true G. I'm sure like your first podcast is not as a masterpiece as it is today. So, people see the Rio today, and when we first came out with the Rio, people were like, wow, you guys came out of nowhere. You guys are killing it. First product. I'm like, nah, dude, I've had 4 failures before this. To me, they weren't failures. They were killer fucking products, but nobody noticed them. The Rio is what people got noticed me now. It's like, where'd you come from? I've been emailing you for 4 years, homie. I've been knocking on that door. You love my products. I've loved your products, and I'm more than willing to do whatever it is to prove that and show you and work with you. Whatever. I have no ego. I put that aside years ago. I'm about success, and for the brand, for myself, and for my team in the correct way. No ego involved. So, that's for little men or for little people, because, well, I guess women can have big egos too.
I think all great brands that create great products go through what you're going through, right? We talk about Nike. We sat down with young LB from Runts. You've seen 6th Street. It's madness. It's literally half the
Disgusting.
fake. It's all over the industry. It just means you hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
You have a great product that a bunch of other companies didn't think of, and now they want a piece of it.
Sure.
It's a tough way to look at it, but it's the only way to look at it. Cause now I start to think like, wow, yeah, I have seen a bunch of ripoffs.
Yeah.
Like the more you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, I have been there and I did see that. Okay. Yeah. That is your product. Cause I can tell because the mouthpieces are crazy.
Yeah. And that's why we changed the mouthpiece because of that. The glass was the most noticeable thing. And it was an ease. So here we have, these are so right now we were sold out of them because we came out. We only have a little amount of them. The glass is so hard to make. It before it was like you said, it was the mouthpiece. It was a weld here and a weld here. Now it's all one piece. It's very hard to make. So in my manufacturing career, I've learned that the cheaper it is for you to make it, the easier it is for you to make it, the faster they're going to copy it, the easier it's going to copy it. The mold fees are cheap. You just made it that much easier for them, homie. So like, make it intricate, have numerous parts to it. This is a $15,000 mold fee right here. And that's cheap. That's because China. If that was made in America, that'd be a $80,000, $100,000 mold fees.
Insane.
You know? If this was made here, this would be, $200 product, $120 product, something of that nature. We try to make this here, and we do make certain ones here other than the torch, because nobody makes the torches in America. But we have American made glass, we have American made quartz, we have American made bases, all of it. But it's a dramatic price difference. Dramatic.
It speaks so highly to you, not even being originally from America, being so pro American built,
patriotic.
Well, when my parents came here, like a lot of Brazilians were friends, or a lot of Brazilians are friends with a lot of Brazilians. A lot of Latinos are friends with a lot of Latinos. And when I first moved here, my mom said, we didn't come here to just build another little Brazil here. We came here because we love the American lifestyle. We love the American culture. We love the American dream. Literally, my mom embedded that in me. Okay. And I think I don't have a single Brazilian friend. And that's not a bad thing. Nor is like I never tried that, and it's not something I went out. But all my friends are just just regular American of all races, shapes, and sizes. It's just something that my mom was like, speak English. We do speak Portuguese at home, and my son will speak Portuguese too. Just because he's going to be bilingual. But it was something my mom definitely taught. Is like we love America. If we love Brazil, we just stay in Brazil. The weather is nicer. Yeah, it is. I promise you. But it's not. We came here for that reason. It's like, yeah, man, absolutely. And I think American made things are amazing. They're just it's expensive. I think people forget about that American person buying it still. Man, it's really hard. It's expensive, and I think behind that really overpriced product is an overpaid CEO or owner that does a lot of nothing. We just want to be different on that aspect, man. I think that's just not cool. That's just not what we want to be about. If we ever change that, slap me, make sure I know.
I got you.
Damn, yeah. You see how quick I got you, dog.
That's what, dude. That's what a number one. That's what he's there for. Something that came to mind when you were speaking on keeping it intricate, keeping it yours, right? So it's unattainable or at least harder to attain is something Pac always brings up, and that's do what's difficult.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's come up in a lot of conversations we've had in the last 2-3 weeks. But it just came to my mind, and now again, where it's like, yeah, now you're making it out of one piece, because guess what? It's gonna be harder to copy now.
It's really hard. It's been, and that's key. If it's easy for you to do, why is it gonna be not easy for the next? I mean, they say that in Shark Tank. They go, "Do you have a patent? What stops me from doing this? You're not my homie. What? We're in business. This is not an emotional connection." I can kind of sometimes understand. That's why I said I don't go after shops that copy our stuff, or people that ultimately have absolutely maybe no clue, but people that know you bought it from me. You know me. I've even told you about the problem. I pleaded about the problem with you, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that sucks, bro. That sucks." And then you're the one stealing from me, dog. You're the one going in the jar every time and taking cookies out of my jar, dog. It was nobody else. It was you. You're the cookie monster. You know what I mean? So that's what we want to do, man. That's just straight up dishonest. You know, they wouldn't. I can't go in their warehouses. You'd be like, you know what? Go ahead and take all of this, make a bunch of money, and good looks. You know, they're like, no, I'm going to call the police on you. Like, oh, okay, well, okay, cool. That's just the same thing, you know. And we couldn't do that for a long time, but we're going to do it in the right way. I think too. We've pleaded. I mean, I've literally, you can ask him, I've pleaded with you, please, man, stop doing this. Like, come on. Like, please, what do you need to do? Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Like, everybody's doing it now. It's like, oh, so everybody's a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Sounds good. I know the kind of person you are now. You're on the list, you know, Adam Sandler style.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah, straight up, man. Because there's few that are like, oh, damn, I didn't know nothing about this. Immediately stop. Oh, my bad. Oh, damn, you guys have a bunch of product. Let's work with you. Immediately.
Tight.
And most people are like that, okay? But there are other ones that just aren't in the industry, don't smoke, don't care about they're the biggest somehow. They have, you know, they're just these traders, you know, they'll get into anything, you know, if fleece sweaters are the new cool thing, they're into that. And now you sell sweaters, you sell, I got bongs, I got airplanes, I got anything you need, dog. It's like, that's not, I'm sorry, dude. Maybe that's not where I want to buy my things.
It's sad to say, but that is why some people get in those positions, is because they have zero emotional attachment to their customer base or their supplier. So they make cutthroat decisions that are not the best decisions that a business that actually cares for their customer would make. And they put out product and cut corners. And that's when you hear about lawsuits, and that's when you hear about poisoning people and all kinds of
every industry.
Yeah, like dank carts you were talking about earlier.
Scammers. Like, I mean, you know how many scam pages we get hit up. It's in every industry. It doesn't matter what you're in. You're going to deal with unethical and immoral people, and they're going to get to what you think you want to get to quicker. Yeah. But the reality is where they're at's empty. Yeah. And where you can go is fulfillment, you know, and true purpose through passion. And the fact that you deal without the Rio, it's just a sign that you're on the right path, but God has bigger plans for you. So keep going.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And I think I believe, I don't think I believe that as well. So, I mean, again, this is the new one you guys just saw, right? So you guys are actually looking at me now. I don't know if you guys probably even noticed. This is a prototype too. So this is a new... This will be my new Rio that after we sell all out of these. So this one has the lanyard here.
Yeah, this is the craziest part.
This has the lanyard here. So ultimately I can put this on any banger. This is only attached to this. And then let's say like I wanted to do a collab with you guys. This base has no capabilities of doing that. It just has that logo there. So we're prototyping it still, but this is a chip here. I can take it out. It's just kind of hard. Here. See? Or actually easier with the glass.
Your compartmentalization and how things build upon is so dope.
So then I can put like, first smoke of the day there. And then it doesn't have to be that small. It can be, that's just the insert. It can actually be more of a that, or it can go down and then go into the inlay here too. Dab tool, carb cap holder, whatever at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So we want, because a lot of people, oh, can I put my logo on it? Oh, can I put, and I'm like, I like these with my logo on it too. Like, let's figure out a way to get that done to people, but not in a gigantic way. Like this little chip for me to make this 3D printed or, I think I made one.
It reminds me a little bit of a Gibbets from a croc. I love that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I made one. It was like a little joke before I came, just to like mess around with it. I just wanted to see, I had just gotten this prototype because, you know, like you're saying, always innovating. So I'm working on, you know, what's going to be, I want to make the most like Amazon basics. I want the Rio basics. I want the most like affordable one. It doesn't need to come with a bag. Like, cause some people are like, well, can I get one without a bag? So we've written all this stuff down. We're like, okay, what do people like? Some people don't want a bag. Okay. Some people just have the glass and just want this. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let them just pick how the Rio they want. So we'll always have our regular Jordan, like black and white Jordan. And then we'll come out with our, you know, limited runs. And that's what like this, we'll never have this color again. And then the following one, we'll keep doing that. But we'll always have our Rio basic, which is just the black base, or another, you know, similar silicone base that you can change out like that.
It's like Nike ID.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey,
Right?
Exactly.
Nike
Where you
Factory.
like build on and then you're like,
Yeah.
I want this here and I want that brand and I want this color and very cool, man. Very
One of my
cool.
favorite brands is the Jordan brand. Like not Nike itself, but like Jordan, how they did it and how they do it. And man,
You see that movie Air?
oh,
Yeah.
beautiful
Great.
movie. Great movie. Great movie.
This
Great
one's
movie.
super cool too because the whole thing's silicone, so there's no longer a need
Oh yeah,
for
and no more of that.
a buffer between the products to hold it tight.
Keeps getting better and better, man. Stay
Just
on your
trying to
path
learn.
and keep doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, bro.
Trying.
You're connected to the source for sure, and you'll keep doing.
I definitely have another one of those over there that's got batteries in it. If you want to try it out.
No, it's cool. We're going to get into it on Off the Mic. I want to check
Yeah.
this out, but this is very cool, man. I love your product development. There's very few people we've been have the pleasure to sit down with that are focused on this aspect of the industry is making it better from the inside out.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, man. Nah. Again,
You guys got any shout outs?
again, just my wife, for keeping the website side down, and my best friend Reza, making all these beautiful packages, man, always, and
Every single one.
Dr. Dabber always being kind to us, and always showing love to us, and all of our supporters, man, every single one, everybody's always had our back, so everybody that's been there for us as day one, even like our friend P from Dynasty down in DC. Came down here with us just to be able to, come and hang out and meet people. Who's always been there in our corner, always been, there for us, believed in our products before anybody did when we were just the first 500 products. So, and then, Adam, and then, everybody that, everybody just supports us. We love you guys and appreciate you guys, and shout out to you guys again, man. Again, thank you guys again for having us.
Shout out to
That's,
Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big
man.
fan base for sure, and I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot more people will be connecting with you after this episode.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So,
Brazil's
looking forward to that.
it's a growing market. We've been looking into the stuff that's happening there, but it's just because the government there, man, and the politics are completely messed up. Like right now, I don't know. It's just a horrible place right now, man. But yeah, I love Brazil. To look up our products. I would love for our products to be in the country that I'm from, but it's really hard to get them there. But if you just order from our website, it's not. But get them into shops there. We've heard it's a little harder. So, but if you have ways, get us in there.
Yeah, reach out to Stache with a CH.
StacheProducts.com, at Stache Products on Instagram,
Yeah.
and we'll jump on Off the Mic, man. This has been an awesome episode. We really appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you guys,
Awesome,
man.
You already know what it is. First smoke of the day. We're out. Peace.
Hey.
Oh shit, I lost the link. Oh, it's right here. If you like this episode, watch more. Click right here.
Right here.